Welcome to the Talladega Superspeedway, one of the fastest racetracks in the world. For the past 8 years, Sears has been the proud sponsor of the DieHard 500, where the racing is always exciting. We expect this year's race to be equally as exciting. So to the drivers and the crews, best of luck.
Meet Bruce Wayne, also known as Batman. Is it possible there's a driver, there's a car that's faster than the Batmobile?
What do you think?
No. Yes.
Maybe, maybe not. You can say we're of two minds on the subject.
Watch out, Batman. Gotham may not have great drivers or fast cars to overtake you, but today, Talladega sure does. Drivers like champion Dale Earnhardt. Dale's car may be faster than the Batmobile. Hey, Batman, watch out for Jeff Gordon. He's so good, Earnhardt calls him the Wonder Boy. Or is it the Boy Wonder? In fact, the relationship between Earnhardt and Gordon may be just like yours and Robin's.
You're looking at your new partner.
No.
How are you gonna stop me?
I can stop you.
Batman, I can beat you.
But as Earnhardt and Gordon battle for the lead, there are also other cars that want to blow by the Batmobile.
I'm gonna get you, Batman.
Today, you're going down, Batman.
Batman, you're history.
Today, there's an army of drivers who want to prove they're faster than Earnhardt, faster than Jeff Gordon, faster than Batman. No.
Yes.
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 I will help you solve the greatest riddle of all. The mother of all riddles.
The riddle, who will win the DieHard 500?
Hot entrance.
Stay tuned.
At Talladega, Alabama, the man in black, Dale Earnhardt, has been the model of Batman forever for years. But today, on this 2.6-mile track, he's falling in the standings. He needs to show the largest DieHard 500 crowd ever another superhuman feat to get back on track for the 1995 title. His major adversary, today it's the heat. Track temperature 123 degrees. And the 23-year-old he calls the Wonder Boy, who's with Mike Joy right now.
Boy Wonder Flash Gordon, he doesn't like nicknames, Ken. What he likes is winning. He's done so a league-leading 5 times this year. And Jeff Gordon, you don't look like you've been out here in the 113-degree heat. You look pretty cool so far. What about 500 miles from now?
I'm sure I'm going to be losing a lot of weight today, and you know, I got a great crew there that's going to keep me cool today. But you know what? We got a great car here today. If we can just keep it up front, stay in that lead draft, I'm not going to let this heat get to me. I mean, it's the same for everybody out there. So you got to be in as good a shape as possible, especially when it comes to these hot races. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's the same car in which he won Daytona last month, but filling up his rearview mirror on the starting grid is that sinister black car driven by the 7-time champion Dale Earnhardt. The editor of StockCar Racing Magazine, Dick Berggren, is with him.
Thanks, Mike. In the last 5 weeks, Dale Earnhardt has gone from leading the points to 4th. If he has hopes of winning a record 8th championship, he has got to return to consistent up-front finishes. But this place is very hard on engines, drive lines, big crashes are common. Champ, as you look forward to today's race, what worries you the most?
Well, really just the traffic. You know, the restrictor plate racing lends itself to a bunched up bunch of field. So we just want to sort of get out and maybe draft along here with these guys and stay in line for the first part of the race. And as if it goes green and the pit stops will catch us right, you know, we can maybe pair off with somebody and get away from them. But just stay out of the group right now. Just stay cool. Try to be there all day.
The third man working with us on pit road today is David Hobbs. David?
Well, Dick, last week, Dale Jarrett finally broke the ice and won his first race in the 28 car and beat out the young Flash Gordon. Can you do it again and bring your dad to hysterics, counting us to the last laps of this race, Dale?
Well, we certainly hope so. CBS has been good to us, and hopefully we can make it 2 in a row. We've got a good car. Just a matter of getting this Texaco Haviland Mac tools forward in the proper place late in the race.
There you have it, Ken. You've got to be in the right place at the right time.
Well, thank you, David, and welcome, folks, to the 27th annual DieHard 500. We always talk about this as the most competitive event. Consider this, over the last 10 years, the last 10 DieHard 500-mile races here, the interval between first and second, total 5,000 miles, less than 2 seconds, just a few car lengths. It really speaks to the competition we expect here today, Ned.
Yeah, I think we'll see very close competition, Ken. Every time we come to one of the tracks where they require the restrictor plates, and that is Daytona and Talladega, we see extremely close racing, and more so here at Talladega because of the degree of the banking. Sometimes they get a little bit too close here, as we saw yesterday in the NASCAR Busch Grand National race. Coming off of turn 4, a couple of cars touch, and all of a sudden we see a lot of cars getting involved. That car number 6 is a relief driver, Randy LaJoy, relief driving for Tommy Houston, but he's okay. He's in the race today. But I think we can expect to see a lot of very, very close racing.
That kind of incident was duplicated another time in yesterday's race. We'll tell you more about it later. Along with Ned Jarrett, we're honored to have the 1974 winner of this race, guy who can really talk about what it takes to win at Talladega. Richard Petty, what about it?
Well, really, it takes a lot of concentration here. Like I say, it's so close, it's so hot today, the competition's hot. You know, you really got to pay attention yourself. Here, everybody just runs wide open, taps the brakes from time to time to slow down a little bit. They like to keep that momentum up, and makes it awful, awful close.
Thank you, Richard. Special friend of ours, a colleague, is the Grand Marshal for today's race.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in all of motorsports, here's today's Grand Marshal, Chris Economaki.
Thank you. As the great Wilbur Shaw first said 50 seasons ago at Indianapolis, gentlemen, start your engines.
CBS Sports coverage of the DieHard 500 is sponsored by Sears DieHard, the official battery of NASCAR. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
And we're back with you at Talladega, Alabama, preparing for this 27th annual DieHard 500. Take a look at the weather today.
Temperature is 94 degrees and rising, and the track temperature, Ken, is 123 degrees. Forecast a little rain later on today. Don't think it'll affect our race.
Should get it in. Let's take a look right now at the starting order for today's race. On the pole, the two-time winner of the Daytona 500, Sterling Marlin. A two-time winner this year, Bobby Labonte, starts second. In row 2, it's the point leader, Jeff Gordon, and the guy who won it in '88 here, Ken Schrader. Row 3, the only 5-time winner of this event, Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd's there. In row 4, it's the Waltrip gang today. Michael's on the inside, and the 79 and 82 champion Darrell on the outside. Row 5, from Indianapolis, Indiana, John Andretti and Robert Presley. Row 6 is Mark Martin, who won the 500-miler here in April, and Jeff Purvis. In row 7, it's Dale Jarrett, fresh from that victory at Pocono, and Todd Bodine. In row 8, it's Loy Allen Jr. and Rick Mast. Row 9 is Dick Trickle and Randy LaJoy. In row 10, Jeff Bodine and Lake Speed. For row 11, there you have Jeremy Mayfield and yesterday's winner, Chad Little. In row 12, it's Jimmy Spencer, the defending DieHard champion, and Morgan Shepherd. Row 13 is Dave Marcus, who won it in '76, and Rusty Wallace. Row 14, Hut Strickland and Elton Sawyer. Row 15, Ricky Craven and Bobby Hill in the '86 winner. Row 16, Steve Grissom and Joe Nemechek. Row 17, Ted Musgrave and Brett Bodine. Row 18 is Mike Wallace and Chuck Bound. Row 19, Jeff Borden and Terry Labonte, the '89 champion. In row 20, it's Bobby Hamilton and Derek Tope. Row 21, provisionals, Kyle Petty and Ward Burton. And rounding out the field in the 43rd position, the '87 DieHard winner, champions provisional for Bill Elliott. And here are those that failed to qualify. Major there, Jimmy Hensley.
Yeah, Jimmy Hensley, big disappointment for him. Of course, Dale McCoward and Steve Seligman.
Into the second preliminary lap before we turn them loose for 188 laps on this track. Take a look at the field as they break them down. 24 Fords, 15 Chevrolets, 4 Pontiacs for today's race. Take a look at the track out here they're facing.
Long backstretch, 4,000 feet, just 2 degrees of banking there. The corners are 33 degrees, and the front stretch 4,300 feet with 18 degrees of banking.
Yeah, when you stand down beside that racetrack, it looks like a wall, and when you're running on it, it looks like it's tilted the other way, so it's quite deceiving.
It really flattens out at 200 miles an hour. In-car cameras as we get ready for a go. You're riding with Dale Earnhardt. And here is Jeff Gordon's view as he prepares. And Mark Martin will give us pictures today of the DieHard 500. How about Jeremy Mayfield? Had that great run last week for Cale Yarborough. And Dave Marcus is with us today, one of those early champions of this 500. And Bobby Hamilton, carrying Richard Petty's colors. We got enough cameras there today?
We should be able to cover it, yes.
I hope Bobby can get up there and get some good pictures. That's the reason we sent him out.
That's the only reason we sent him out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 43 strong for $1,300,000. The 27th annual DieHard 500 is about to be cut loose.
Business manager of automotive affairs for Sears Roebuck & Company, the sponsors of the DieHard 500.
Coming to the line, remember the start-finish line is not in the middle of Criolla, down toward turn 1. We have it.
They are off and running. 5 Chevrolets in the first 5 positions.
Turnaround from last week when the Fords were up in front 3 positions, and Musgrave started 7th. See Gordon breaking in to make it 3 wide. No, he waits a second on Sterling Marlin into that 4,000-foot back straightaway. Still coming to speed. With these 7-inch restrictor plates, how long to get to full speed here, Richard?
It takes about a lap and a half really to get to full speed. So, you know, don't make any difference right now. They're all accelerating together. So, what difference does it make if they run 100 mile an hour or 200 mile an hour?
And coming down to complete lap number 1 from Columbia, Tennessee, the Morgan McClure, number 4. Sterling Marlin has the lead for the moment as Jeff Gordon moves in. Gordon closing on him as they come down to complete this first lap. Gordon second. Bobby Labonte third. Earnhardt tucked on the inside and 4th.
And then everybody side by side from there back almost to the end of the pack.
2 big 12-car incidents yesterday had Darrell Waltrip talking to the drivers here today about being cautious, particularly in the early going. You just have to flat-foot it. If you can leave your foot on the floorboard for 500 miles, you have a chance.
Well, look at Earnhardt. He wants to go for the lead early. Didn't he say there in that interview that he's just going to sit there and sort of ride and see what happens?
Well, maybe he said he was going to ride in front. He didn't.
Yeah, he said he'd ride in line, but we knew better than that.
Crowd standing up and cheering as they note that Earnhardt has now come up into second position to challenge Sterling Marlin.
Remember, he started 5th.
Well, Darrell's running 3rd. He jumped right up in there with him, too.
Darrell started 8th, so he has made a good move up to 3rd. Yeah, you're right.
They were so optimistic for today. The Waltrip crowd had the wind taken out of their sails in that terrible crash at Charlotte, North Carolina. He broke some ribs, set him way back in the standings after he'd been up in the top 10. Interval 1st to 43rd, about 3 seconds.
Ken, you're talking about how long it takes to get up to speed. The first lap average was 169 miles an hour. Second lap average was 192 miles an hour.
Get with the program. From the blimp, watching the commencement of the 500 here today at Talladega, Alabama. 3 wide, Mayfield down on the inside. It's Lake Speed on the outside and sandwiched in the middle of Wood Brothers, number 21, Morgan Shepherd aboard. Another big cheer as they come down by and put 3 laps in the record book of the 188 to be run. Jeff Gordon gets left in the lurch down to the bottom.
Yeah, he might need a little help down there, somebody to draft with him. Bobby Labonte coming up on him there now.
Look at Bodine trying to move in the middle here. Jeff Bodine, and that's number 7.
You just do your thing. If somebody gets right with you, it can make you go. Or if they don't get right with you, then you're hung out there. You're hung out.
3rd lap at about what the pole winner was, 194.5 miles an hour.
from Mark Martin's view, traveling along a little over 195 here. Average for a lap, 194. See John Andretti tucked just on the inside of him. Michael Waltrip, who had a good run yesterday for a long time in that race before Chad Little won it right there in the number 30. A 43-car express train running at 194 plus miles an hour, less than 3 seconds apart. The most competitive racing in the world, Winston Cup stock car racing, and today they're here in Talladega.
I think the outside line is the faster one right now. Those down on the inside having a little bit of trouble down there. The outside line is just gradually moving away from it.
Well, the cars run a little bit freer when they run up in the second or third groove, and they're really binding them up, even though a lot of times by yourself it's faster down there, but kind of binds them up when they get in that wind.
Back they come, completing 5. Marlin has led from the outset. Sitting on the pole for today's race. Not a record for the pole, but on these restrictor plates, a whale of a lap. His 9th career pole put him there, and a bonus of $120,000 net Unical money. Now note that Chad Little has switched to the, Jeff Gordon has switched to the outside. He's fallen in behind Schrader.
Yes, he saw
low line.
He saw what was happening there. He knew that he had to get up there in that faster line. It's faster right now, at least. Last lap, 195.6 miles per hour. They're getting on with it now.
Schrader starting to work with Gordon. As they come back to the line, you see that car on the inside the green automobile. That's one of the Leo Jackson entries, and he's had great success here over the years. Presley, the rookie, who had a great qualifying run in 10th, staying right up there in the hunt.
Yeah, he's in 6th place right now.
Leo Jackson power plants have won with both of the Parsons in this race, with Harry Gant. Could have a good run here today.
Kenny Schrader just went very high in turn 1 and 2, allowed Jeff Gordon to move by, whether that was intentional to let his teammate go by or not. They certainly would like for Jeff Gordon to get up there and lead a lap to get 5 bonus points.
You notice they're starting to get one right behind the other one now. They're starting to really do some drafting where they can get the speeds up right now.
To the pits and Mike Joy.
Just before they climbed to the cars, Ken, Michael Waltrip, who got knocked briefly unconscious at yesterday's crash, came over to his brother Darrell as Earnhardt goes for the lead, and he said, "No, I started 28th yesterday. No matter how bad it gets up at the front here, it's much worse back there." Darrell nodded and he said, "I'm going to the outside. I'm going right up near the front, and I'm going to sit there and ride as close to the front as I can." That's just what he's doing.
The crowd as loud as the engines as Earnhardt buckles down and bursts into the first position. Car number 3, Richard Childress colors, now leading in the DieHard 500 at over 195 miles an hour. Tucked into 2nd. There you see the number 4 of Sterling Marlin, the Daytona 500 champion, and here comes Gordon in 3rd. 14th race, Earnhardt has led this year. Riding with Jeff Gordon through the 18-degree trioval down to the start-finish line.
Darrell Waltrip has gotten himself caught down on the inside, alone, no one to draft with at the moment. But now Dale Jarrett moves down there, moves around Bobby Labonte, but then he quickly moves back up behind Mark Martin, so that didn't help Darrell much. You can see Darrell down on the inside as the cars go by on the outside.
Waltrip falling back through the field now after he was up in one of those top 4 spots earlier in the going.
Not a thing in the world he can do about it either. He can just sit there, he's got it wide open, so that's all he can do.
As to the heat, here's Dick Bergman.
It is very hot down here on pit road, Ken Squire, and many of the crew chiefs are as much worried about their own men as they are the drivers. As a matter of fact, Billy Engel, who is crew chief for Ricky Rudd, says he has left the garage doors open for weeks. Why? So he can get his pit road guys ready for this extreme heat. He said, "I'm not going to turn on the air conditioner for them." On the other hand, Ricky Rudd has ice in a bucket in his car to circulate cool air through his helmet. And Engel says, "Well, I'm not going to mess with the boss. He signs my check so Rudd can stay cool."
Rudd lies in 7th position right now. Mark Martin right there. Top runners, Earnhardt stays in 1st, Marlin 2nd, Gordon 3rd, Schrader 4th, Robert Presley having a good run in 5th. Just behind him in 6th is Rudd, then 7th is Darrell Waltrip, 8th is Mark Martin, and 9th is Dale Jarrett. Coming back to the line to complete the 12th lap. Everybody up and cheering as Earnhardt, Marlin, Jeff Gordon, Schrader, and Presley come roaring by, and then the rest of the train. Getting a little bit of separation. First lap's just amazing. They have one car pulling onto pit road right now.
That is Jeff Bodine. Certainly an unscheduled pit stop for Jeff Bodine.
Last time this race was won from the pole was back in 90 when it was done by Earnhardt.
Bodine getting 4 tires. We mentioned him into the pits, and he was ailing a little bit this week, had a kidney stone problem.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, he got in against somebody. You see the left rear quarter panel there? It's bent. It was bent in on the tire. He felt the tire rubbing, smelled the burning rubber, and at Talladega you take no chances with that sort of thing. They had to come in and make a change. He will lose a lap. What's more, Bodine has a kidney stone. They did a dye test. They've checked it over the last couple of days. It has not moved. He says he's good to go for the day health-wise, but if it moves, Mike McLaughlin, the Busch driver, will be here in relief.
Here you're watching the 15-car train up in front. Just behind it, about 3 car lengths back, is Waltrip. He's running in the 16th position now. Take a look a little further back in the field here. Here's Bobby Hamilton well back, now being shown in 39th position. When you're running 39th out here with that kind of stuff going on in front of you. Long day?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a long day for Bobby, but he's running just hard as he can go. And all we try to do is just try to keep him up in the same lap. And then, this is a long race. It takes its toll later on in the race.
There's the pack that's just in front of him. Loy Allen is the direct car in front of him as they continue to war out here.
Yeah, they're in a pack of about 15 cars right there that everybody else is getting away from.
Loy has slid back perhaps more than anyone else. He started in 15th position. He's now back there in the 42nd position.
So here come your leaders, about to complete 15 laps, all green thus far. Great race yesterday. Wreck strewn, however, 2 multi-car accidents. When it was over, Chad Little had his 5th win of the 1995 Grand National season.
And here comes Sterling Marlin. He wants the lead again. Trying to take it from Earnhardt. He had it at the start-finish line.
Chevrolet's up there in those front 5 positions. First forward is Ricky Rudd back in 6th, Martin in 7th, Jarrett in 8th.
Now does Earnhardt, he's on the outside. Does he have the momentum? Now Gordon goes with him. He thinks Earnhardt does have the momentum. Now he don't know what to do. He's going to come back down behind Marlin. He's confused. Don't blame him. You can get that way, can't you, Richard?
Very, very easy. You just have to make a decision and stick with it. And some of them are right, some of them are wrong.
Here's Gordon coming on the inside, challenging Earnhardt. With him comes Schrader.
Schrader will more than likely follow the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. They are teammates. Those cars owned by the Hendrick Motorsports Organization.
What a year they're having.
Unbelievable. While they're battling back there, Sterling was able to open up about a 5-car length lead.
Last lap at 50.2, and you saw the speed at about 190. Schrader through the inside, Earnhardt outside, and Robert Presley putting the 33 back up there. Change in that 33's administration. Johnny Hayes is leading the UST team.
After many years, a very successful management of that team. Now we're seeing some cars move around a little bit. Drivers trying other positions.
Here's David Hobbs. As they go for the lead, Gordon coming to the inside at the line, coming out of that tri-oval. It's going to be Gordon getting back into it again.
He got 5 bonus points right there, Ken. Now you see he might even back off.
Whoa. Let's go to David Hobbs right now.
Well, Ned, son Kyle had a dreadful weekend in qualifying and practice and ran dead last for the first 3 or 4 laps of this race. But now he's up to, what, 23rd, Barry Dodson? He's going tremendously well.
He was 23rd a while ago. I think he's moving on up, We struggled all week. Nobody was watching. And yesterday afternoon, we got our good engine back in and got back to where we were at Daytona, where we've been awfully strong for both races. And he must be having fun. He's not saying anything. And normally that's a good indication that we've done a pretty good job.
Well, certainly is so far, just rocketing through the field. Kyle Petty.
Yeah, I was watching him during the happy hour practice yesterday afternoon, and he was running with Mark Martin. They were turning some very fast laps, a lot faster than Kyle had qualified, so it looked like his car was going to be good.
Strickland down on the inside of the number 26, coming with Kyle Petty in the 42. Moving under Jeff Purvis, pulling up on Rick Max. Further back in the field here.
There's Kyle trying to make another pass.
He's in 22nd position, climbing toward the front.
Some good side-by-side racing back, not too far back in the back. Bobby Labonte on the outside in the Joe Gibbs car. There's Rick Mass down on the inside in car number 1. And here comes Kyle. Boy, he is coming on up through the pack.
He was as good as anything out here in that last hour of practice yesterday following that Grand National race.
He has made tremendous strides.
Here's Dick Berggren.
One of the things that the drivers are doing right now, Ken, is trying to figure out who they can hook up with and who they can draft best with. And this is not a matter of Chevrolet with Chevrolet, Ford with Ford, or even teammate with teammate. Aerodynamics are such that some cars seem to simply draft better with others. Now, last April here, when Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin got together, it turned out that that duo was actually a half a second faster per lap when Gordon was in front than when Marlin was in front. And that's the kind of information they're trying to accumulate right now.
Keeping an eye on the times, keeping an eye on the temperatures. Looking for some pit stops coming up in about 15 to 20 laps. And we'll return to the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
With each race, he faces a new challenge, a fresh shot at the pole, and another chance to win this season's overall prize, the Busch Series Pole Award. Only then will he earn a ride at Daytona, where he'll run with the big boys in the Busch Clash. We're proud to be with him from the first turn to the last. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse has created its own very challenging do-it-yourself project. To build a Winston Cup car from the ground up. To turn cold steel into 700 wild horses. To put together the best team in the business. Presenting the Team Lowe's Ford Thunderbird. When you want the job done right, Lowe's knows what it takes.
At Talladega, Alabama, today's overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls, Captain Joel Chamberlain from Norwood, Massachusetts. Giving us some great shots of this one. Down here on the track, Robert Presley has moved around Earnhardt, who had grabbed the lead. He went out in front. Now here comes Earnhardt back after it. Only 3 times has this DieHard 500 been won from the pole. The last man to do it was Earnhardt, Elliott in 87, Marcus back in 76. Kyle Petty was in 11th, and look at him on the bottom, still trying to move through.
He has just made absolutely tremendous strides up through the field. It's hard to believe that you can pass that many cars in about 24 laps as they're coming to the stripe. He has moved from the back of the field up into the top 6 right now.
Tucks right in behind Michael Waltrip going into turn number 1.
A couple of Pontiacs trying to hook up together there.
Take a look at the running order after 21 of 188 laps.
Boy, Earnhardt went very high there.
Opens up the inside. Here's Jeff Gordon looking for that 6th Winston Cup win of the year, coming to the bottom and going into first place.
And folks, we're seeing that running order there on the screen, but it's switching almost every lap, so that's the way it was a little bit ago.
As you note, number 3 staying really high. Presley coming back on the inside. Now here's Mark Martin moving up on the top side of Schrader. They come to the line to complete lap number 25, all green thus far if you're just joining us. It's Gordon staying out in front.
Another driver who has made a lot of moves up through the pack is Jimmy Spencer. He started 23rd, and he's up to the top 10, or was just a moment ago. A couple of cars got by him on this last lap, but last year's winner has been moving up through the pack.
See the running order back through the field. See the
field on that 4,000-foot back straightaway with Jeff Gordon in front. And in pursuit, Robert Presley. Here's Dick Berger.
Well, Dale Earnhardt has been drifting up on the racetrack for the last several laps, Ken. The problem is his race car has gotten loose. Andy Petrie, the crew chief, said he doesn't think it's a tire going down, and he says some other guys are having the same sort of problem. But Earnhardt right now having a tough time staying on the bottom of the speedway.
Now, one thing that we're seeing happen here as we ride with Dale Earnhardt there, and we'll see how much he's turning that wheel. It won't be a great deal, even though the car might be a little bit loose. You still don't turn the steering wheel a lot on this type racetrack and at these kind of speeds. But what I started to say, there are 5 cars that are about to break away a little bit. Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty were running side by side. Now they have singled out, so they might be able to pick back up on it. One thing you don't want to do is get to running side by side too much, because those running in single file will get away from you. Here's some good side by side racing.
Earnhardt into 4th. Looking further back in the field now.
Every once in a while they get to running side by side. I think the spotters say, "Hey guys, wake up!
Yeah.
You know, get back in line, catch up, and then start racing again."
From 43rd position, last on the starting grid, Bill Elliott's beginning to knock him off today too. He's coming on.
Yes, he is. He is now in the top 20, so he has knocked off half the field.
Just into 20th position, Elliott here in number 94. See Rudd falling back a bit here in the 10.
The fastest forward in qualifying, Ricky Rudd was. Now, his car getting a little
John
loose.
Andretti holding right onto him in 21st. Here's Mike.
Just talked to Billy Engel, Ricky Rudd's crew chief, and he just looked at me and said, loose. You know, typical hot day Talladega loose. Ricky climbed the hill a little bit, got the car back in line, but you can see if the car is not quite right, the cars that are a little tight at this stage are going to drive right underneath you, and that's continuing to happen to Ricky Rudd now.
And Mike, I think some of those that are tight enough to run in the draft are beginning to pull away now, and we see that here after they've run about a half of a pit stop, get those tires really heated up. That's when you can see how good a car is really handling.
See Bobby Hill in the 77 getting a good handle on that car, getting down to the inside, doing that maneuver. Meanwhile, up in front, it's still Jeff Gordon, Presley, Marlin, Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty in 6th, Dale Jarrett. And further back in the field. Check in on Jeremy Mayfield out here running in the 24th position. Car number 98. They're in the top 10 at Pocono a week ago in the RCA car.
And you can see Jeremy's in a lot of traffic as well. There's a lot of traffic just about everywhere you are on this racetrack.
All green thus far as we come to 30 laps this time by. Mayfield has a passenger in there.
Yeah, is that the RCA dog? Is that what it is?
It'll change his bark.
He won't have any out there, can he, Richard?
No, he won't make much noise, that's for sure.
About 80 miles complete with 30 laps, 4:20 to go. Again, here's Gordon coming back to the stripe. Marlin has pulled back up into 2nd, and moving back up a notch to 3rd comes Earnhardt. Presley falls back a bit here. Coming to the stripe. They say that number 32, Chuck Bound, having trouble right here with car number 32. He has a borrowed engine from Richard Childress today. They skipped Pocono to get ready for this. And they thought they might have seen a wisp of smoke out of that car. It doesn't look right there.
No, I don't see anything again. There it looked like a little bit as it came off that turn.
Smoke tires.
That's sort of a strange place really to see smoke as he started off the turn.
So Bound trying to get a good finish out of this one. Getting his heart out back in 37th position. Friday night in Talladega, special evening for Richard Petty, Benny Parsons, and Dale Earnhardt.
And now, gentlemen, start the unveiling. Race fans, I present your new 1995 Talladega Texaco Walk of Fame members, Richard Petty, Benny Parsons, and Dale Earnhardt.
Y'all got the Alabama gang into this Walk of Fame, and tonight we're putting in a North Carolina game. And we really appreciate it. We think it's great. And everybody enjoy themselves at the race. Thank you.
Back here live at Talladega. Richard, how many Hall of Fames are you in these days?
I don't know. You know, it's just a thrill to go into any one of them. You know, after driving for all those years and stuff, and then somebody just calls you up and they even know who you are, it makes you feel good. So the Hall of Fame deals are really, really neat.
Well, the Carolina contingent's now represented by Earnhardt up there in third spot with Jeff Gordon leading, Sterling Marlin in second. They're working the 35th of 188 laps to be run today in the DieHard 500 in Talladega, Alabama.
And they'll have some pit stops coming up before too long here, Ken. I don't know if they can go maybe 40 to 45 laps, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Michael Waltrip back there in that fourth position. In fifth, Robert Presley. Oh, and there's Achy Breaky Heart himself, Billy Ray Cyrus looking on today. Looks like he's listening to the music.
Kyle Petty's pits. He's got to be thrilled with the way Kyle has come up to the field.
In sixth position right now. And there's the 32. Chuck Bound having problems. Wanted a good run. They took a week off to get ready for this and for Indianapolis upcoming.
I guess Bobby wore him out. He kept taking a picture of him and he finally gave up.
That's a bad break for the former Grand National champion, trying to get this 32 active racing team back together.
Well, for a moment we had 9 cars that had pulled away a little bit, but now those behind them have caught up, and we got about
19. It looks like.
Yeah.
Let's get to Mike Joy quickly.
Again, the fuelers wear the same driver gear, the safety that the drivers do. 3-layer suits, helmet, full fire protection, and a little blower here, a filter and a blower from Chris Raffo on Richard Bostick's helmet, and also that of Chris Dana keeps them with cool air. And I'll tell you, they end up here, even with all this gear on and that fresh air, they're cooler than we are.
Is that what you want? We can get you one of those.
I'll try it. Dick Bergeron.
Well, an engine builder will tell you that the thing that makes horsepower is running air through it, and if the engine is unrestricted, this is what the top of the intake manifold looks like. 4 holes are there, 1 3/4 apiece. With these 358 cubic inch engines, you can generate about 710 horses. NASCAR decided, after Bill Elliott cut a 212-mile-an-hour lap here at Talladega, let's choke the engine down. And this is a legal NASCAR restrictor plate. These holes are only 7/8 of an inch diameter. They cut the horsepower down to about 450. Only about 25% as much air flows through the engine with these restrictor plates. Slows the cars down a little bit, but boy, we're running 195 miles an hour today. Not slowing down much.
The more they take away, they try to get right back. As you watch Kyle Petty working on the inside. Looks like Elliott's car down on the bottom.
Yes, Bill Elliott has caught the front pack.
And he's coming. He's up to 14th.
I tell you, Labonte's right with him there too. He started right in the back of the racetrack.
That's Terry Labonte.
He's right back up to the front.
They come by, complete 38 laps, 101 miles down, 399 to go. It's been all green thus far, and they're pulling up on Mark Martin. Pulling up on Martin.
Mark Martin running in the 9th position.
Take a look at the interval right here. There you see Martin.
And there's Jeff Bodine. They put him another lap down. When he came out of the pits, when he had to make that unscheduled pit stop, he lost a lap in the pits, but he had nobody to draft with. He's just sitting out there running by himself. So now, unfortunately, now Jeff finds himself 2 laps down.
Yeah, he's had such bad luck. They did it Loudon. Had as stout a car as there was up there, the Paul Andrews crew. But got down a couple of laps and just kept on fighting or not. And as we reported earlier, kidney stones, a big issue with him today. There's a big question as to whether or not he would start this race. Again, the running order for you through 37 laps. The big move, Kyle Petty, as he unlimbered that number 42 and just came screaming through the field from out back.
And Bill Elliott also, Bill Elliott started absolutely dead last in 43rd position.
Kyle was 41st.
Terry started, 38th, so they all started right dead in the back and worked their way up in the top 10 anyway.
Yeah, Kyle got there first.
Here's David Hobbs.
Well, I just talked to the crew chief on Bill Elliott's car and asked him how the car was running. He said, real good, pretty tight-lipped as these guys are. And I pointed out to some of the front runners like Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt were definitely having trouble with their cars getting loose. And he said, no, the car ain't loose, it's just running real good, and he's pretty happy with how things are going. That's all he would say. So I guess Bill Elliott's a definite threat for this 500-mile race.
Indeed he is, and so is that Kyle Petty car. No question about it. And another big surprise out here, Robert Presley for many. Remember, he's running for Rookie of the Year. He's second in those points to Ricky Craven. Kyle Petty, who won at Dover back in June, however, right now started 37th on the grid finally today. I thought it was 41st. When he started 37th at Dover, 41st here today. And he's up in that top clock right now. Here's Gordon coming back to the line. Marlin after him, Earnhardt in there. Michael Waltrip, Presley, Schrader, all in this bunch. Jimmy Spencer in 7th. Martin 8th, Kyle Petty 9th, and Dale Jarrett 10th. At Talladega, Alabama, the running of the 27th annual DieHard 500. There are your leaders with Gordon, Marlin, Earnhardt, appropriating those top 3 spots. Michael Waltrip right behind them. Some of the leading figures in Winston Cup racing are not having such a good day today. Far back in the field are some of the top runners in the points. You see the 16 right behind Bobby Hamilton. Ted Musgrave came into this race in 3rd spot. He's running 13 seconds down from the leader, and he is back at the present time in what, 32nd, 31st position, trying to work his way up through. Also, Rusty Wallace has fallen back. He is in 33rd position now. Ricky Rudd has fallen back. He's in 35th position. So some of those top runners having their problems. There you see Wallace. These big super speedways and this restricted place racing has never much favored Rusty Wallace.
Certainly haven't, and it's strange to figure out why. He goes into them with a lot of optimism, but it just doesn't work out for him. I don't know what the problem is. Rusty Wallace can drive these type racetracks. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Back pit side, here's Dick Berggren.
Well, the wheeling and dealing on pit road has begun, Ken. Tony Glover and Andy Petrie have just had a conversation and made the decision that they will pit together. When Petrie's car, driven by Dale Earnhardt, comes in, they're going to change the air pressure, bump up the rear spoiler, and try to get rid of the loose condition that car has got. Meanwhile, Steve Neal has been walking down pit road trying to find somebody else to pit with. I think he just found him. He just walked away from Jimmy Maycar and nodded. Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick. Rusty Wallace has been talking to his crew on and off, but only about minor adjustments. A little half a pound more air in the right front, half a pound less in the right rear when they make their change, as Jimmy Spencer is the first of the cars in the lead lap to pit, and Ricky Rudd is due in shortly. Remember, Wallace started way deep in the field, and I think it just wanted to ride there and sort things out before making a move maybe after this round of pit stops, Ken. I don't think there's anything very wrong with Rusty's car.
All green thus far. They're working lap number 47 as they begin these pit stops. At lap 40, we have a new track record. The old mark of Dale Earnhardt, 191.328 is the 17 car. Waltrip is pitting. The old mark of 191 has been erased. The new record is a 192.4. That's 192 miles per hour over the first 40 laps, approximately 106 miles. The new record belongs to Jeff Gordon, who now has led 17 of the 18 races this year.
Darrell pitted, got some trouble.
Got the hood up on his car.
Waltrip had a great start today, ran up in those first laps with the top 5. Now with the hood up. See Bobby Hamilton in as well. You see Musgrave coming in. That's Grissom right behind him. Nemechek is in.
And we'll see the leaders coming in. And we understand that Jimmy Spencer was too fast on his exit from the pits. He'll have to come back in for a stop and go. Boy, that's going to be expensive.
That's a long way down here.
Okay, here come the leaders now. The leaders are coming in.
All of them. Let's see who stays out. Pick up 5 points. Bobby Hamilton made his pit stop. Spencer coming by. Bodine,
Bill Elliott.
And Bill Elliott will be the leader. Here's Mike Joy.
Scheduled pit stop for Jeff Gordon. Wipe of the windshield. Rick Mast in right behind him. Mike Trower, Chad Nouse doing the right sides. Andy Papanetu getting the gas in. One can is done. Routine stop for Gordon. Down to Dick Berggren.
It'll be 2 tires for the number 4 car, Sterling Marlin. Also only 2 tires for Dale Earnhardt, who beats Sterling Marlin out, but Jeff Gordon passes him on pit road.
And there's a tire rolling across the track. Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, and Kyle Petty all get by.
It's out in the grass now, it's okay.
Here's Mike.
Ricky Rudd finishes up his stop. He complained of being very badly loose. All they did was bump up the spoiler, and it looked like they made some changes on the air pressure to Ricky's car. Otherwise, a routine stop to get tires on it. And looking at the tires that came off that car and that of Jeff Gordon, everything looks fine and rather routine thus far, Ken.
You see the number 40 easing down on the pit road. That's Randy LaJoy.
There's some kind of problem.
Sure does. Randy LaJoy had a big problem yesterday. Yeah, number 6 of Tommy Houston
up on his top. This don't look quite as bad as it was yesterday.
Boy, Jeff Gordon beat Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin out of the pits by quite a bit. At least on the racetrack, it's showing up to be quite a bit. However, as the cars behind them get hooked up together in a draft, they'll pick them all up and they'll all be running back together in about 10 laps.
Elliott has made his pit stop. Let's get down to Dick Bergman.
Well, Randy LaJoy's problem, Ken, was that he just couldn't keep that car running going down pit road. It stalled on several occasions, but he seems to have it going now. Shouldn't have much problem keeping that thing going. That's one of 6 cars here running by Hendrick engine.
Pit stops continue on pit road. Sort out on the racetrack shows Bobby Labonte currently as the leader in the event. Jimmy Spencer has been black flagged, as we reported a few moments ago. John Andretti is unofficially up into the 2nd spot, and Hut Strickland has been shown in 3rd.
And Bobby Labonte is now coming out of the pits after his service, so Jeff Gordon should be the leader.
With Andretti right with him.
Andretti's right behind him, yeah.
The cars were running in 1st and 2nd, so we should have just about gone through the entire cycle and come back up with those original leaders. 8 lead changes among 5 drivers thus far in the running of the 27th annual DieHard 500. No cautions to date. First stop for fuel and tires, a green flag stop, and usually that separates some of them.
It normally does. That's about the only thing that separates them here at Talladega, it seems like. But someone make a 1 second faster pit stop than someone else, that's a couple hundred yards.
1 second is a long way down here.
Lake Speed, who is still looking to lead that first lap this season. Car number 9 goes down on the inside. So we now have 50 laps complete, and with this entire cycle completed, this would put Jeff Gordon back in front with Earnhardt in 2nd, Sterling Marlin in 3rd, and here is Jeff Purvis in the 44 car coming in very slowly, set on the pole for yesterday's Grand National race. The Clarksville, Tennessee driver having some problems here. Jeff Purvis in number 44, who had qualified 12th at 193 miles an hour. Eases her down onto the apron of the Talladega Superspeedway.
This DieHard 500 race summary is sponsored by Texaco Havoline Formula 3 Motor Oil.
Race summary after they've completed 141 miles, 53 laps, have 9 lead changes, and they're at an average of 189 miles an hour. That includes that green flag pit stop out there.
And there's just 1 car out of the race now.
And here you see the leaders as they are working the 55th lap with Gordon first. You see Earnhardt 2nd, Sterling Marlin, the pole sitter, in 3rd. There's your leaderboard. Going back through the field, Dale Jarrett out in 10th. John Andretti holding on in 9th. Changing that leaderboard. Ken Schrader, he is in 6th. Bill Elliott just outside the top 10 now in 11th man.
Now he pitted off sequence with the other drivers. Don't know how much that might have affected him.
Well, 2 laps after the others have come in.
Yeah, they're starting to gang up now. You see a little crowd of 2, and then you see a crowd of 4 or 5, and then you see another of 3. So everybody's sort of separating a little bit now.
If they aren't careful, that threesome up front will drive away. Boy, they hooked up in a draft here yesterday afternoon and ran over 197 miles an hour.
They're doing it now. They're getting away from the 4th and 5th place people.
They're trying to get away from that 4th and 5th contingent. Mark Martin, Mike Waltrip, then 6, Ken Schrader, and Kyle Petty in 7. They're the top 3, and here come the rest of them. at Talladega, Alabama on the 2.6 mile track, race number 18, $1.3 million at stake today. 146 miles have been completed, all green thus far with nary a problem after we had one of the wildest Grand National races of the season yesterday and tore up 2/3 of the field. Look at Bobby Labonte here in the 18 leading John Andretti. That's 8th, 9th. Dale Jarrett back there in 10th in that group, and just behind them, Bill Elliott in 11th. When you go back a little further, you should be picking up Presley right in here in that green number 33. Morgan Shepherd, there he is in the 21, right with him. And Dick Trickle in the Bud Moore car. Bud's had 5 winners here at Talladega over the years.
And most of those with Buddy Baker.
One of them the slowest, and certainly one of them the fastest. Let's go down to David Hawes.
Well, I'm with Darrell Waltrip in his truck. Darrell, going so well. You did what you said you were going to do at the beginning. You went to the outside, you went to the front, and then you gradually slipped back. What happened?
Well, the engine started getting hot when I was tucked in there behind Earnhardt and them, and so I thought I'd back up a little bit, and you just don't back up a little bit here. I got out there trying to get some clean air to the radiator, and the old gauge kept creeping up, and I said, uh-oh. And finally, the old Western Auto Chevrolet burned a piston, I'd say. But we were coming back. I said, well, it's burning down, and I might as well run the wheels off of it until it lets go, because I knew it would. We had it too hot. But I had a safe day. I was worried about that tomorrow. Had a safe day, and we'll be back. We're having some rotten luck right now. We got a great race team. We'll be back.
You had some pretty strong words to say in the drivers' meeting this morning about yesterday's carnage race. It looked pretty safe to me out there today.
So far, so good today, but I'm proud of the way people are driving. Looks like I saw on several incidences where yesterday they didn't give a guy a break, and today they are. It's hot out there, and I think guys are aware of that, and they're giving everybody a little bit of a break. If they can just do that all day now, that's the question. They're starting off good. Maybe we need to stop about halfway and let me go out there and remind them again.
Well, Darrell, it's a tough way to get out of a race, but thanks very much, and good luck next time.
Next week.
That's a toughie. Had the wind out of their sails from Charlotte. They looked today as they started as if they were going to get it back together. Most green flag laps at the outset of a race at Talladega, 159 back in 1985. Well, it did not appear that day until less than 30 laps to go, about 29 laps left in that one. They're off to a great start, and they're breaking records at the present time. Here you see the 9 and 5 car further back. That's 15th and 16th, and with them Strickland in 17th. Lake Speed, Terry Labonte, Hut Strickland running 15th, 16th, and 17th, and down from the leaders. Give you an interval on that. Before we do that, let's get a check on Hamilton here. See how your guy's doing out there.
Yeah, he's running with a bunch of pack, a big pack right there. He was up in front of them because they made a good pit stop and got out in front. Then these boys all caught up with him. So he's back and forth. And just, in fact, this whole crowd, there must be about 8 or 10 of them in this particular crowd. They all run about the same speed, which is not too fast right now.
Right behind Derek Cope. So up to 26. They've been back in the 30 group for a while. Comes Bobby Hamilton. You see Rusty Wallace down there scooting up through on the inside.
I tell you what, it's kind of interesting there from time to time. See, now he gets a good run start, and then there's no place to go. Of course, there is. Looks like he's going to make a 3 or 3 start.
How much of a move to come up like that around the 12? How much? You're just
running wide open. He didn't have to make any real big turns there because the 12 car moved over a little and gave him the whole racetrack. So, you know, like Darrell said, right now they're all working together. They're just trying to survive everything for a while, and hopefully they'll continue to do that.
They're about 6/10 of a lap behind the leaders, and right now the leaders are coming up on some cars that were running in the lead pack before those pit stops. Jimmy Spencer and Rick Mask are right in there. They were in the lead pack. Both of those drivers were penalized for going too fast on pit road, had to come in for a stop and go, and now they're about to go a lap down.
And as you see them come out of turn number 2, working the high side is Gordon and Marlin. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, Earnhardt digging out there.
That's 35th place that Mast is running in. So still a lot of cars in the lead lap, but several of them being taken care of here right now.
Working through lap traffic, Jeff Gordon, the leader, trying to extend that 106-point Winston Cup lead. Trying to take it back a little today, reel him in. Earnhardt going for that 8th national championship, tied with Richard Petty at 7. Spencer pulls high, way up to the wall. Those front three go blazing through, and we'll return to Talladega after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the DieHard 500 is sponsored by Sears DieHard, the official battery of NASCAR. Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
64 laps, 170 miles complete in the 27th annual DieHard 500 at Talladega, Alabama. With Ned Jarrett and Richard Petty topside, I'm Ken Squire, enjoying a wonderful race, but a hot one. I mean, really hot. Take a look in here at the second place car. You're riding with Dale Earnhardt. That thermometer there says what, 135, 138, Richard?
Something like that, almost 135 degrees. And, you know, he's sitting in there. He's not paying any attention right now, but this is a pretty long race, and he can start feeling the heat. Right now, he's trying to put some heat on the 24 car.
Well, that's extremely hot conditions to have to work under.
Here's Mike Joy.
In Greg Fielden's book, Rumblin' Ragtops, he talks of a guy named Pete Peterson who came to Daytona in 1956 in a car with automotive air conditioning. Started 28th, finished 10th. But today, a driver has to wear more than 20 pounds of flame retardant safety gear that does not breathe. How do you keep him cool? You take air in from outside the car, 100-degree air, run it through a filter, and pressurize it with a blower into an ice chest, where it passes through this cooler, chilled by ice in the chest, and then comes out. And just like Mom says, wear a hat in the winter, you wear a hat in the summer to keep cool. The cooled air, 30 degrees colder than outside, comes in here to cool the driver. There are also tubes out there that are filled with ice that are chilled by dry ice. And there's something new. Dick Berggren.
Well, there's something new on pit road too, Mike. Kenny, our Traders crew, has come up with this little sprinkler system, which is sort of venting everybody back here with nice cool water. They need it. It's 137 degrees on pit road, and this from Computech may well replace the dry ice and also the ice that you see in some of the coolers. This thing is simply a heat exchanger. It uses no Freon, no ice, no dry ice. It is the brand new deal. It's in Kyle Petty's car today. David Hobbs.
Well, in spite of all those conditions, they still lose a tremendous amount of weight. Now, this is a gallon can of water, which weighs 8 pounds. All of these drivers during the course of this 500-mile race will drink at least this much fluid. So in theory, they add about 8 pounds to their weight. In fact, they'll all lose between 10 and 15. John Andretti tells me he'll lose 10 pounds. He only weighed 140 pounds to start with. So altogether, these guys are going to lose about 18 pounds of weight during this 500. That takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot out of a driver, and it takes a lot of concentration to overcome that sort of loss.
Richard, you were always a string bean, but how much weight would you lose in an event like this?
I weighed about 190 pounds, and I'd wind up weighing 175 pounds when the race was over like this. It wasn't nothing to lose that much, and then, you know, the middle of Monday, you'd have it all gained back. But strictly, you know, the deal of being dehydrated, that's what it's all about.
Let's take a look at the weather here today at Talladega for you. Temperatures popped up to 97. We started, what, it was 93, 94, Ned?
Right. We're still continuing to rise. Ricky Rudd just had a problem. He slowed his tied Ford going down into turn 1 down on the inside. Rudd had dropped all the way back to the 25th position.
Here come the leaders. Coming back to the stripe another time, and hanging out the back of him is Lloyd Allen in the 19th. I believe he is indeed a lap down in 30th position. Lloyd Allen, the new sponsor, and there is Ricky Rudd in trouble and ready to bring that one in. Too much luck here at all for Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, if he can make it back, because he's about halfway down the backstretch right now, not running too fast.
He might not be able to coast all the way back into the pits.
Qualified so well, had a 6th position in the starting grid here for this race. Looking for that 16th win, currently tied with Terry Labonte and Mark Martin in the all-time win list back 32nd. Looking for a good run today, but it's not his. Mike?
Talking with Billy Engel, Ricky Rudd's crew chief. What happened to it, Bill?
Ricky said it felt like it burned a piston. He said all that park throttling from having to drive the thing, you know, with it loose, he couldn't stay on the mat like you need to here to keep the fuel in there to keep everything cool. He said he felt like it burned a piston. We're on the way to the garage area now to see what's wrong.
So here, even if you can't run wide open, you have to.
Yeah, if you can't, you're going to burn a piston if you don't.
And he did.
And that's what Richard Petty said at the top of the show. Said you keep your foot on the floorboard, and if you have to slow down, put your foot on the brakes, but still keep your foot there wide open.
You do as much as you can, but if that car gets loose, it's kind of hard to push all them pedals to the floor.
Yeah, you want to lift on that accelerator.
Old-fashioned pipe organ out there.
Sort of a reflex.
See Mark Martin? He's caught back up again with those leaders. He's running in fourth. The first four, Gordon, Earnhardt, Marlin, Chevrolets, are first, second, and third. Martin is in fourth, and you're riding with him now. There's a lap car between him and Sterling Marlin, and there's Ricky Rudd back in the garage area. Bad day for Ricky Rudd and his own team. The leading Pontiac right now is Michael Waltrip. He's in fifth position with Ken Schrader in sixth, and then Kyle Petty's Pontiac has come to seventh. This is with 71 laps now complete, and nary a green flag, 188 miles, Ned. Good run.
Yes, it is good run. And they have gotten sort of scattered out a little bit now. The lead pack, there are still 7 cars in the lead pack. And then it's a pretty far piece back to Morgan Shepherd, who has moved up to 8th place. They're about 12 seconds behind the lead pack.
And following him is Dick Trickle in 9th, Dale Jarrett stays in the top 10, Bill Elliott in 11th, John Andretti having a good day in 12th, Bobby Labonte 13th, Robert Presley 14th, Blake Speed 15th, followed by Terry Labonte, Hut Strickland, Todd Bodine, and Steve Grissom in 19th position. Here are your leaders. This is Jeff Gordon. What a season he's having on these super speedways. He's dominated in the competition this year. He has led 4 times the laps of anyone else. Coming into this race on super speedways, he had led 1,397 laps. Earnhardt was second. He had led 285.
Doing a pretty good job today of leading laps, too.
Got a new speed record out here. Going through, what, 70 laps, Ned?
190.378. The old record was 182.2 miles an hour.
1971, Pete Hamilton out there in Richard's car.
I think he was in Cotton Owens' car at that time, 71.
Okay, let's go down to Mike Joy. To David Haas.
Ricky Rudd out of the race, disappointing. You were running, sort of getting near the back there. What was happening with the car?
Well, we had moved our way as far as up front, as close as 4th, and the car got real loose, and told Bill we're just going to wait till we get a good yellow flag and work on the car a little bit. We'll go back, drop back, get clean air, and we'll come back later. And then it burned a piston in the motor, but I really blame that on the problem we were having in the corners. When you have the partial throttle, one of these restricted motors, they'll run real lean on you, and it end up burning a piston and knocking us out of the race. So really the handling problem developed the problem with the engine.
Okay, thanks very much, Ricky Rudd, and bad luck.
Long afternoon for Ricky Rudd. Ended short at 72 laps. Working the 75th lap at the present time, getting close to 200 miles.
Put 700 of the world's most powerful horses together, and what do you get? You get out of the way. The Budweiser Ken Schrader stock car. See you at the races.
Coming up next, the CBS Sports Show takes you to the Rocky Mountains for coverage of the 14th U.S. Olympic Festival, featuring figure skating, pairs, and ladies' short programs. Plus, we'll step into the boxing ring as America's Olympic hopefuls go toe-to-toe. That's coming up next on the show. This show at Talladega has these people up in front: Gordon, Earnhardt, Marlin, Martin, and Waltrip, with now 77 laps complete. 200 miles are in the book, and the story, records. Richard Petty, before we got started today, was talking about the fact that this could be the one where they just get out here and scorch them. Imagine a record set in 1971.
I think what happened, we seen the Busch race yesterday, and I think everybody sort of said, okay, let's try to get this thing going. As long as that we can keep them separated like this, we've got a pretty good chance of not having it. Where you have trouble is when they have a caution, you get all the cars, lap cars and stuff all together, and you can cause a lot of trouble.
Ned, look at that high line that Earnhardt continues to play with on the outside, as now he was working the bottom a few laps ago.
If you notice, Earnhardt runs the high groove. But anyhow, he runs the high groove. He loses a little corner speed, but it makes him go down the straightaways fast. So by the time they get to the next corner, he's been caught back up.
So he's just running a longer way around the racetrack. But as you said earlier, it doesn't bind his car down quite as much, and he does get that good run off the corner. It looks like that they pull away from him in the corners, but you know the speed is probably still the same. He's just running a longer line around the racetrack.
The big deal is get back to the start-finish line the quickest that you can, and that's the fastest way around, quickest way around for him. Maybe not the fastest, but the quickest.
He uses the high line in 1 and 2, and then down in 3 and 4, you're very apt to see him dip to the bottom. It speaks well to how well that car is working.
Well, he has searched for a place to make that car work right.
That's what he's doing. He's running all over the racetrack, so he can get an idea right now of what he's got to do when he comes down to the nitty-gritty at the end of the race.
And not giving up a position to any of those guys who would love to move in on him. Running just behind, you have the top 7 all in this first flock. You'll see Gordon in first, Earnhardt, Marlin, Martin, Waltrip, Schrader, Kyle Petty. That's the top 7. Gordon has led 54 of the 80 laps that have been put down today. And I'll tell you, he just keeps chewing up these laps in these super speedways.
One reason that no one is challenging him for the lead right now, maybe they can't for one thing, but he's running lap speeds right now comparable to what they qualified here on Friday. And so those others figure, hey, he can pull us faster than anybody else. And we're continuously running away from that second pack of cars. We got about 7 cars up there in the lead pack, but they want to get as far away from that second pack of cars as they possibly can.
Yeah, you're right, Ned. We're in the middle of the race. All they're trying to do is make time. The quickest way they can make time is what they're trying to do. Pit stops is what separates them from them at the end of the race. But right now, all they're trying to do is get a far ahead of everybody else that they can.
Earnhardt in that second position, riding with him there. He closes back in on Gordon. Here's Dick Berger.
Sterling Marlin's crew chief and Dale Earnhardt's crew chief just had a lengthy conversation, and they were talking about when to pit. Part of the problem right now is that Marlin's temperature gauge is beginning to climb. He has been running behind Earnhardt. As soon as that conversation was done and over with, Tony Glover, Marlin's crew chief, went up to Steve Neal, who's the crew chief for Mark Martin, and he had a conversation. And don't you know that they wish in Earnhardt's pit they knew what that conversation was all about? Mike Joy?
Well, I'm with Ray Evernham. He's Jeff Gordon's crew chief. And, well, you're pitting up here in Tennessee. Everybody else is down in L.A., lower Alabama, and they're trying to cut a deal on when to pit. But you're not talking to anybody about a deal, are you?
Well, you know, you can't be like everybody else if you want to beat everybody else. So we just thought we'd try a little bit different strategy today.
And run your own race?
Well, kind of. You know, I don't know that we're going to get everybody to work with us because they got to try and beat us, but we just felt like we might be able to gain a little more momentum down here under the green.
And right now, they like having their car out front and out of the way of anything that might happen.
Working lap number 83, Morgan Shepherd in the 21 car, running back in what, 17th position? A little better. Morgan is running in 8th position, 18 seconds back.
If you notice
those leaders with Elliott.
If you notice what Ray said there, they're pitting up the pit lane so that when he comes across the start-finish line here, he's already up to speed a little bit more. Earnhardt and them's pitting down here, they're real slow there. So it takes a long time to get these things wound up. So they're trying a little bit different strategy than Mustang.
8th and 9th are on your screen. Shepard and Elliott at the present time, with Bobby Labonte in 10th, Dale Jarrett back to 11th, Presley 12th, and Dick Trickle 13th. John Andretti 14th. Give 15th to Lake Speed at the present time. And again, they're 18 seconds back from that lead pack of 7. Gordon, Earnhardt, Marlin, Martin, Waltrip.
And losing about a half a second a lap to the leaders. Earnhardt has taken the lead.
Well, they come up on some lap cars there, and I guess it changed the wind a little bit, and then probably 24 probably not trying to take any chances either.
Driving carefully, that's for sure. Dick Trickle's car had slowed down there a little bit ago. I don't know, he dropped out of the draft. He might have picked back up a little bit now, but
here's Gordon going right back under Earnhardt now.
He's running that low groove, just like we've seen him run all afternoon. Earnhardt still running that high groove. Let's see if Gordon will give him room before he slides out in front of him. He slides right out in front of him. That's what he's supposed to do. Picks up the draft of Jeff Bodine there. Jeff's on the inside.
Jeff's car's handling so good, he can run right around that white line all the way around the corner. So that's the shortest way around. That's the quickest way around for him.
Boy, that's a nice position to be in, isn't it?
Definitely.
Chad Little going a lap down. Chad is running in the 25th position. So now there'll just be 24 cars in the lead lap. Brett Bodine is right there. He's about to go a lap down. Brett is running in the 24th position.
And we'll be back with more at the Die Hard 500 after these messages. Providing today's shots from above, Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. The Goodyear Blimps are in their 4th decade of live sports coverage. And it's flying over Talladega, Alabama, and the Die Hard 500, where right now, 23-year-old Jeff Gordon, in search of his 6th win of the season, is just barely out in front. And it's been a war between the 3 and the 4 in the past couple of laps, side by side. For the moment, Earnhardt is back there into 2nd place. And the Chevrolets have cleared the podium, top 3 positions. Moving up is Mark Martin. He is into 4th. Mike Waltrip in 5th. Schrader in 6th. Kyle Petty in 7th. And they're getting very, very close to lapping a couple of the key players in this race now.
Yeah, Ted Musgrave and Rusty Wallace are both just less than 4 seconds from going a lap down.
I think this group goes up to the 18th position.
Just saw that group as they come through the 18-degree tri-oval here at Talladega. And here come those leaders as Jeff Gordon keeps on moving. 4th straight finish of 2nd or better was a week ago. Looks like he's about to extend that with the run he's making today, but it's still early in the going.
Oh, yes.
89 laps are now complete. That gets us to 236 miles. So we're moving in on halfway. Here's Marlin back to the inside another time.
Earnhardt takes that high groove, so Marlin comes on the inside. Martin just sitting there right behind him, trying to figure out which way he wants to go as Bobby Hamilton now goes a lap down.
He was running 23rd.
And there'll be a number of other.
Musgrave about to go a lap down.
Even the 16 car moves down to the inside, lets the leaders go by.
Bobby Hillin getting caught up now. 77 car. Bobby Hamilton's rear view as Kyle Petty moves down in that 7th position and drives beneath him. Brett Bodine and Junior Johnson, the 11 car right there. See where he's running today. Back in 24th, I believe.
Yes, he won a lap down a few laps ago. Rusty Wallace just about to go a lap down.
Getting a little crowded right there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Very crowded.
Now, this is where Earnhardt so many times can pay off. He loves to run in traffic, and here he is. Wallace on the inside, Earnhardt in the middle, just in front of him. As they come along, Todd Bodine up on the outside, and that's Mike Wallace on the bottom at 190 miles an hour, switching positions. And here comes Earnhardt looking for the lead again. Do they have at 190 miles per hour? Gordon in the box.
Yeah, Bodine's been in front of him for the last couple of laps, kind of slowing him up.
At average speed, it's picked up to over 191 miles an hour.
Looks like we've broken another record here today.
Yeah, Davey Allison now had the record at 178 miles an hour back in 1991.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Ken, as we get ready for the next round of pit stops, let's take a look at an earlier Jeff Gordon pit stop from an earlier race. So we're going to slow it way down for you so you can see what it looks like in slow motion. Now, they're only allowed 7 men over pit wall, and you can see the shadows of the 7 men. They're getting ready to go over. Gordon comes in now on the right side. The Jackman, Barry Buse, he has got the jack under the car. Nick Trow and Sean Parker hit the right side tires, while on the left, Tim Smith loosens the left side tires. Muse is going to cross over the front of the car. Here he comes with the jack to get the left side up. The grill is clean. The windshield is wiped. All by men who never cross over the wall. Only 7 are allowed over. Mike Belden adds 22 gallons of gas. And when Muse drops the jack, it's going to be time for Jeff Gordon to go. And there he goes. Wow. What you just saw in 35 seconds was done in 17 seconds in real time.
Well, they're getting ready, what, another 15 laps? 15 to 20?
I would say yes,
Right in
another
there.
15 to 20 laps.
And we're up toward halfway.
Bonnie.
Getting to halfway this time through.
Cope just on pit road. He's making an early pit stop. Looks like they're just changing tires.
Coming to halfway this time by, Richard. Derek Cope back there in the fourth position, 1 lap down on pit road. Early stop and away. Meanwhile, here are the leaders. Gordon staying first. Marlin in the number 4 up on the outside, trying to put a lap on Todd Bodine.
They'll get the halfway signal. And this time by, the halfway signal will be coming up.
Like Waltrip, Schrader, Kyle Petty stabilized up in front in those 7 positions.
Yes,
holding their hands right now.
I think they're content to be running in those positions and following Gordon along because he's pulling them at a very fast rate, continuing to set records every lap.
Bodine was leading a little pack of them there, and then when the fastest come out, he jumped right in there. So he's taking advantage of the draft of the fastest horse.
That's Todd Bodine.
Todd Bodine running in 18th position, 1 lap down. Lap on Nemechek. 4,000-foot back straightaway. Pretty easy getting into that third turn under Richard.
Well, yeah, it's not that bad. This whole track is so wide that, you know, if the car's not handling real good, you can just use more of the racetrack and still run wide open. It's fairly smooth at this speed.
Look at when they come down through here at 190 plus. Some 3 wide racing further back in the field. That Morgan Shepherd. That's Morgan on the road in 8th spot with Elliott right there with him. Jarrett at the halfway point running in 10th, and Bobby Labonte in that clock.
And they're coming up to lapsing cars, Jimmy Spencer and Rick Mask, who were penalized for going too fast on pit road.
So halfway through it, and still nary a sign of a caution flag in this race, and it's a dandy for the lead, and they're breaking all kinds of records.
You've got 700 horsepower trucks. You've got Craftsman tools. You've got heart pounding, bone rattling, eardrum busting speed. What else do you need for a perfect Sunday afternoon? The all-new NASCAR Super Truck Series, brought to you by Craftsman. The only tools tough enough for super trucks.
Back at Talladega, and all the leaders are now on pit road. Here's Mike Joy.
Very congested under the green flag, Ken, and it looks like right side tires for Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, and Michael Waltrip. They're all pitted here nose to tail with one opening among the 4 pits. Waltrip will get 4 tires, so will Mark Martin. Dale Earnhardt getting 4. It looks like Marlin will get only 2. He's away, then Earnhardt, then Martin, and finally Waltrip.
Leaders all coming out. Gordon leading them out, followed by Marlin. Here is the Earnhardt car. Martin coming out. Kyle Petty in between Kyle and Martin. Comes Bobby Hillen and Brett Bodine. They're a lap down. Schrader is back out. Grissom, Nemechek has made his pit stop. Dick Trickle as well, back underway. Still not a caution in the race as we work toward 100 laps, 266 miles. Morgan Shepherd inherits first place.
And now he and that group of cars he was running with, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, and Bill Elliott, they're all coming into the pits.
Yeah, they're all trying to pit together so they can get out together, because if you miss that draft, you get in another draft.
We have 19 cars running in the lead lap, now 18, and the car that's just on the tail end is Loy Allen. Looks like he ran out of fuel out there.
Evidently.
Here's Dick Berggren.
Dale Jarrett has just come into pit road, and this worked as expected. He tried to pit with Bobby Labonte. In fact, did pit with Bobby Labonte. Jarrett has to swing real wide to get by Randy LaJoie, whose car had stalled on pit road.
Saw Bobby Hamilton just coming out. He had run that car all the way lean and had to coast in. Went down another lap. Car 43, he's back underway.
That's because he was running too fast on pit road, because he come back in and made another pit stop.
That's what happened. He got car coming out a little too quick. So Gordon has taken the lead back once again, with Sterling Marlin still second and Earnhardt third after this round of pit stops. Martin fourth, Kyle Petty up to fifth, and Mike Waltrip falls to sixth. We've completed 99 laps at the DieHard 500. 27th go here on this 2.6 mile track. And the story has been Gordon versus Earnhardt, with Sterling Marlin up there to mix it with them from the outset.
Gordon, once again, on the green flag pit stop, got an advantage over the others. He got out fast and had a good run going as he came out of the pits, as Richard Petty had pointed out earlier. But the others will hook up together in a draft, and they'll run him down pretty quick.
Let's take a look at our Goodyear race summary now as we come to 100 laps. Give you the halfway look of the race after 261 miles have been completed. 5 different leaders, and lead changes stay at 11. Not that many. It's still a good race.
It's been a good race. It's just been so fast and no cautions. And
there you see the 3 retirees: Waltrip, Purvis, Rudd, and all 3 from the same element.
And the car number 19 that we saw coasting around there a moment ago, I saw him pull into the garage area as well. Of course, that would be Loy Allen.
29 picks up a penalty for coming on the pit road just a tad too quickly. And Steve Grissom is going to have to come in and out again.
Riding with Dave Marcus there. Dave is moonshine in the 31st position, 2 laps down.
And back out with 101 on the board. Marcus back underway. We pretty much cleared pit road for a second time with green flag stops here at Talladega, Alabama. The record book is taking a hard right to the head. Boy, are they clearing that one out by big bounds in lead this afternoon. Meanwhile, Gordon stays first and Marlin holds on to that second position. Here's another one for you. At lap 100, 266 miles. The old record, 1977, Donnie Allison there. The new record stands at 189.3. The old record, they're 10 miles an hour over the old record.
12 miles, almost 12 miles an hour faster than the old record.
77.
The speeds up there. Of course, that was back before restrictor plate days in 77. But a lot has happened since then in the aerodynamics of the cars and all of those kind of things. And then, of course, with no cautions.
Top 4 coming by, still here waiting on each other. Looks like they're in for a great finish again today at Talladega. Maybe a little early to be saying that, but hey, in a couple of weeks here on CBS, out to one of the grand old events in American motorcycle racing, Peoria, Illinois. The American Motorcycle Association is there. If you haven't seen that TT event with that half-mile feel to it, that big jump, pretty dramatic stuff, and all the top riders are going to be there. And of course, coming up at the end of the season, we'll take you down to Miami. Jiffy Lube Miami 300 is the last grand national race of the year at the new Homestead Motor Complex just outside of Miami. That 1.5 mile track, we're going to start doing some tire testing there on August 8th. Chad Little headed down there. And we look forward to bringing that event to you on CBS this fall. Here are your top 4. 3 Chevys and a Ford continue to dominate this race. Gordon, Marlin, Earnhardt, Martin up in front, Kyle Petty, and here comes Trickle, showing a little smoke. Slow roller here.
I think Dick might have had an overheating. I mentioned that he had dropped back. He just dropped back behind the pack that he was running with, but now he is definitely off the pace. It doesn't look like the engine is running. If so, not very good.
276 miles down. That was the 104th lap if you're marking it when Dick Trickle seems to be getting in trouble and may be retiring from this event. It's like another engine gone sour. Now here you see Morgan Shepherd. Still very much in this race. Back in the 10th position. Elliott's in there with him still. Cherry Labonte, Presley.
Actually, right now, Ken, I've had the clock on Jeff Gordon for a couple of laps and Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd is pulling that group at almost the same speed as Jeff Gordon is running up there. Before, I mentioned that they were getting beat by about a half a second a lap, but right now they're running up there with them.
Well, we got an unusual bumper sticker down there on pit road, and here's Dick Bergman.
Yeah, and these are all over Talladega, Ken, and I wanted to ask King Richard Petty about this. How about it, Richard? From the oval track to the oval office, you would be, in fact, the 43rd president. Another sticker says he gave us 200 wins. Let's give him 201. Are you running? And if you do, will Gary Nelson head the CIA or the FBI?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if we could stand it. You know, the situation is that I don't think I want that office. I don't think they can run fast enough to catch me to put me in that particular office.
Are you looking at any, Richard?
No, right now I'm just sort of idling along, checking everything out, and just playing it cool.
Well, that's exactly what Earnhardt and Marlin have been doing out here in the DieHard 500, playing it cool on the day when the temperature is up around 97 degrees.
Yeah, you notice, you know, before they had that pit stop under green, there were 7 cars in the front pack. Now there's just 4 left in that front pack.
Well, they're going to scatter it out a little bit more.
On board with Earnhardt as he again tries to reel in the leader.
See him in his office at work.
Yep. Batman and Robin are at it again. and Batman right here would like to spank Robin. He'd like to move right on through, and I think he wants to wait a little while.
He's probably feeling lucky just to hang on right now.
Tremendous pace, record setting here today. Records falling, and we'll return to Talladega after this message and a word from your local station. It's Hyperman, a new sponsor of the car driven by Dave Marcus.
I'm on the trail of a big green thug.
He just left. Yeah, income's bad, man.
Thank you. Time to go hyper.
Watch out for that wall.
I guess he's the new hot tip guy, I guess. I don't really know what you call him.
Hyperman, a new Saturday morning cartoon premiering this year on CBS. That's all we need is Hyperman. We got ourselves a caution. First yellow today has just come out. This at lap 110. Don't believe it's major. Guys catch anything around here? Ride with Dave Marcus for just a moment, and I think we've got a piece of something down here on the racetrack. It could be right in front of us.
There is
a small piece of debris down here. It looked to me like maybe a piece of tape. It could be worse. It could be a piece of metal. So the caution is out for the first time today. And here's David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Randy LaJoie, who's, to say the least, having a very eventful weekend. 2 crashes yesterday. What's gone wrong with the car today, Randy?
The car run really good. This Kendall, Dick Brooks car run really good. I got to thank them for the ride. And got a little behind. I picked the wrong lane early on. We come into the pits, left the pits, and first gear come out of it. So that was okay. We had a vibration. Car was still running good. And we come in for our next pit stop, and the clutch was totally gone. So I guess that was a vibration. The thing vibrated itself all apart.
Yesterday afternoon, there was a pretty slam-bam race here, and you got caught up in a couple of instances. Just tell us about the trips.
Yeah, I tell you what, first off, started 42nd, come up to like 24th in 7 laps. The Duraloop car was running really good, and a couple guys up front got together, and it was just hang on from there, and thought I had a miss, and the guy come up off the infield and got me, so I was watching it in the hauler, and Tommy Houston's son come up, said his dad was getting sick and wanted me to take over, so I jumped in his car, and he had the crush panels knocked out of it, but tell you what, that Red Devil car, that thing run, and we come up, we took the lead, and I was having a lot of fun, and until about 7 to go, come off of 4, and a couple more cars got together and just collected me, and next thing I know, I was going sky high, so I just pulled the belts real tight, held onto the steering wheel, and went for a ride.
Well, poor Randy LaJoie had 3 goes this weekend in 2 races, but didn't yet take a checkered flag or any flag. Back to you, Ken and Ned.
Watching Earnhardt pull onto pit road. This is under caution 111, and Gordon stayed out.
Gordon stays out there. Most of the rest of the drivers come in. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Mike?
Dale Earnhardt is in. Andy Petrie to the right front. David Smith on the jack. Earnhardt, uncharacteristically over the line, had to back up a foot. That'll only cost him about a second. Danny Myers filling the car with gasoline. Gene DieHard, the left side tires. A little bit of a trip there on the left side. And this is not going to be a particularly fast stop for the Flying Ace. Sterling Marlin is already gone. Let's get out of Dick Berggren there.
Marlin had not planned to come in on that pit stop, Mike. He was going to do whatever the 24 Jeff Gordon was going to do, but once they saw what Earnhardt was doing, they decided to come in. Their principal problem right now, the radio is intermittent on the 24. They don't think it's working at all on Bobby Labonte's car. That is a huge problem on this big, big racetrack.
So that set Earnhardt back some. Gordon stays out on the track, and among the very first to return to the 2.6-mile track was Mark Martin, followed by Michael Waltrip. came out very quickly. Then Sterling Marlin followed along out. Terry Labonte was in that group that made it back. Following him was Kenny Schrader and Hut Strickland. Strickland is a lap down. We have 15 cars in the lead lap at the present time.
Yeah, Strickland was just about to go a lap down. This caution was a godsend for him because the leaders were coming up on him. Now he got to catch up with the field, so he's still in the lead lap. Let's go back to the pits and Mike Joy.
It was a very uncharacteristic troubled pit stop for Dale Earnhardt's team. Richard Childress was up on top of the war wagon. What happened, Richard?
Well, you know, he must have got a little water or something come in there. He slid off. We wasn't going to take on but 2, and he slid all 4 tires. I think we hit some water or something back there, and we flat spotted the left, so we didn't want to take a chance. We'll be okay.
The track position now, he'll be out behind all of those leaders. Is that a big concern of yours?
Yeah, that's the reason we want to do 2 and stay out, but you know, you can't do it with flat spot tires. It's just one of those deals we hit something back there and the car slid on it.
You can't second guess the competition, but are you surprised Jeff Gordon stayed out there?
Yeah, a little bit, but you never know what their strategy is. Everybody makes different strategy here.
Well, like Ray Evernham told us, that's why he's pitted way up the north end of pit lane to do things a little differently today.
And Earnhardt will restart in 12th position. Another lap under caution, maybe 1 before they turn them loose. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday in that Grand National race, gentlemen. We heard LaJoy talking about that event. I think this is the first incident.
Yeah, that's Warren Burton. That's upside down, and the car hits him, and the other starts hitting their brakes and hitting each other, and they slide all over the place. About 10 or 12 cars involved in that one. And then here's the one coming off of turn 4. That's Jeff Fuller in car number 47, gets tagged, and around he goes. That's LaJoy going upside down in Tommy Houston's car. A lot of cars really torn up here.
But it's this 17 car coming back through the grass right there. That's Bobby Reiser in the 17. Suffered serious injuries, but is stable, is the latest report we have on him today. The winner yesterday, Chad Little, 5th Grand National win of the season. Picked up some more points on Johnny Benson, current point leader, back there in 5th. Are they headed for Topeka this week? No, that's the trucks.
The trucks goes to Topeka, Kansas. The Grand Nationals go to South Boston, Virginia.
When that car turned over, we had the flaps up on it. That's the first car we've had since they put the flaps on the roof to turn over. We've had them to go up in the air, but they usually come down. But I think the transition from flat to going on the bank there, just once it started, there wasn't no stopping.
I think you're right.
Next Saturday, the CBS Sports Show travels to Atlantic City, return of the champions. After 2 years away from the tennis court, Monica Seles makes her return against Martina Navratilova. That's next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern on the show. We're through the caution period. That piece of debris was directly down below us. It almost looked like it might have been a piece of tape, but indeed it was metal.
It was a piece of metal. Yes, it looked like a piece of aluminum, maybe, Richard.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, because they had to pick it up, and it was definitely metal. So that was good call to get that off the racetrack.
It was about 12 feet up into the track, and just up out into the second lane as you come across the start-finish line.
And these tires are so easily cut, it doesn't take much. And if 2 cars had gotten side by side on that position on the racetrack, very definitely one of them could have hit him.
So I think we're going to get a indicator of a take 1 this time. They started to give it the lap. And there you have whatever it was is right there. A moment ago before they picked it up.
Yep, the safety crew came out, picked it up, removed it. They were just past the start-finish line of that.
All right, they double up on the restart here. Get ready for another go at it. The first caution flag of the day. Mike Joy has an update for us.
Well, from the other far end of pit road, Ray Evernham, you didn't pit. Why not?
Well, like I said, you can't always win doing what everybody else does. We had a plan. We're going to stick to it. Our car gets better the longer it runs, but you know, this puts us out of a fuel sequence, and if we get left out with a dancing partner, it might cost us. But you know, it also might win the race for us. But like I said, you know, we're trying to do our own thing and keep going.
Well, there's plenty of people up there in the front to draft with now.
He last pitted on lap 98. This is lap 114. Actually, it was 112 when we saw that group come onto pit road and take on fuel.
So that's 14 laps of fuel that you're giving up. And that is quite a bit on this racetrack, but who knows how the strategy will work out. It'll be interesting to see.
They all have the same strategy. It's kind of dull out there.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time that Dale Inman on this very racetrack did that whole deal, put all those tires up, and everybody thought they were going to come in for, what'd you do, just come in and top off the tank?
Daytona, but that's what we did. But that's the way they did it. They just blew the minds of everybody else. Everybody else come in and changed tires and got gas. We just come in and got a little gas and was lucky enough to win the race.
80, 81, it was
80,
after we
81,
started the
right.
CBS telecast down there.
Started that in 79, huh?
So Gordon is going to bring the field down as we get ready on a restart. They will complete lap 115, 188 to be run as they come to the stripe. And here's Dick Berg.
Steve Beal, you came in, took 2 tires. What's the plan from here as the green's ready to drop?
Well, we hope everybody stays in line like they've been. It's been a real good, clean race. The left side tires, the Goodyears are just perfect, so we just didn't need the rights. We'll probably pit about lap 155, get another set of rights, and hopefully run to the end.
Going to hook up with somebody for the lead?
Oh, we're going to have to. We'll try to pass our lead here in just a minute if the 30 will go with us.
That's the plan, run with the 30.
16 cars on the lead lap as they get the green flag.
Gordon, Martin, Waltrip, the front 3, then Marlin right behind Waltrip, followed by Terry Labonte in the 5th position, coming back up to speed. Schrader, Petty, Strickland, what a break for him, almost overlapped. Now he's in 8th, Lake Speed in 9th, Elliott 10th, Shepard back there in 11th, then Earnhardt 12th on the restart. Riding with him now as he's trying to dig out and get a little ground back. Bobby Labonte 13th, Andretti 14th, Dale Jarrett 15th, and Presley. And look at that onslaught in the back straightaway. 4 wide and then some.
Ooh, boy, that is a little bit tight. Bill Elliott there right in the middle, and he keeps his foot in the floorboard.
Well, we got some of them leading in first lap, some of them lap down, some of them 2 laps down, and everybody's trying to get their best over.
And you said earlier, that's whenever you can get in trouble.
A lot of trouble.
Bobby Labonte making that big move to get under Earnhardt, and look at Mark Martin, his dancing partner, in the 30. They've worked something out. They try to close in. Now the 30 fades up a little on that corner. He came right down bumper to bumper, closing on Gordon. And then the 30 got tangled up with the Ford here, and he's falling back a bit. As you watch the field headed in the back straightaway, the 4 on the outside and 30 on the inside remain side by side down the backstretch. In 3rd, Mark Martin coming after Jeff Gordon. Ford against a Chevy up in front in the DieHard 500. This for 3rd. Michael Waltrip still looking for that first Winston Cup win on the inside. Beside him, Sterling Marlin. And here comes Martin for the first time. Ford has only led 2 laps. We put 116 into the book so far. And all of a sudden, Mark Martin begins to look strong. Remember, he won here in April with that magical mystery move in the last lap.
And this is a case where a Ford driver wants to help a Chevrolet. Mark Martin wants to help Jeff Gordon pull him away from that group of cars behind him. He'll do everything he can to try to stay right there on him and try to help him pull away.
Martin's rear bumper giving us this shot further back as Marlin is in 3rd and Terry Labonte, the 5 car, and boy, look at him come on net.
Yes, Sterling Marlin, of course, has been fast all day, but Terry Labonte has not been up among the lead pack all day. In fact, he was only about 5 seconds from going a lap down before the caution.
Back to the start-finish line.
Martin trying to lead, but he couldn't make the pass on Gordon. He looked down to the inside 10, but he just couldn't quite do it.
Schrader stays right up in there as well. The number 25 back there fighting his way up into 5th position. Here's Earnhardt trying to make his way out from underneath. Earnhardt on a roll down to the bottom beneath Michael Waltrip. Back there as they struggle for 6th. Like John Andretti in there with him.
Well, it didn't take Earnhardt long to come back up there, did it?
Now he's got a big interval to make up. Here you see it.
The front pack of cars are beginning to get away from those up front. I mean, those in the second group.
7th place is Earnhardt. 8th for the moment is Andretti, and 9th is Michael Waltrip. In 10th is Morgan Shepard, and 11th in that group is Bill Elliott from 43rd if you're just joining us. Had to take a past champion's provisional start. Look at Bobby Labonte right in the middle, 3 wide up there in that 33-degree banking.
Riding with Bobby Hamilton, you see Lake Speed in car number 9 down on the inside of it. It's a little tight there.
gets a little close when you're 3 abreast.
Yeah, really. Lake speed up in that lead lap in 10th position. Bobby Hamilton is a lap down in the car 43. He's running in 29th position. Leaders coming by, and there you see that interval back to Earnhardt. Over the years, time after time, the last 10 years, 5,000 miles of racing in this DieHard 500. We mentioned at the outset the difference between first and second total in those 10 years, less than 2 seconds. Looks like it could be that kind of a day again in Talladega, Alabama. Now 120 of 188 complete.
There are the leaders: Gordon, Martin, Marlin, Terry Labonte, Ken Schrader, and Kyle Petty. Those 6 pulled away a little bit, but now Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip and Bill Elliott have hooked up together. They're going to try to draft up there too.
Just behind that threesome is behind Morgan Shepherd, who finds himself at the present time in 10th, is Dale Jarrett 11th and John Andretti in 12th.
From Darlington to Talladega, through Daytona, Rockingham, and Watkins Glen. In every major NASCAR race, Busch Beer recognizes the pole winner with the Busch Pole Award. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, everyone follows the leader. Busch Beer, proud sponsor and official beer of NASCAR.
The last 3 laps, incredible run by Earnhardt. Remember, he was several car lengths back in a second pack. 7 cars were together. Martin was up in front. He got clotheslined, hung out to dry. As he fell back, that front pack slowed down a bit, and Earnhardt came propelling through traffic. Now he finds himself in 3rd spot, closed up behind. Jeff Gordon first, Sterling Marlin second, Earnhardt back to 3rd, and Kyle Petty has rolled into 4th position.
The deal with Earnhardt, they made a mistake in the pit and had to get 4 tires. By doing that, all them other boys was out there with 2 tires, and the 24s out there with 4 used tires. So, you know, that's an advantage for him right now, probably later on in the race also.
Here's Mike Joy.
It looked a lot like Earnhardt's charge in the closing laps of the Daytona 500. Here he restarted 12th, and Ken, that didn't only look good on the track as he swept under 3 cars at a time in the tri-oval, it looked good on the watch. His lap passing those 3 cars 48.80 seconds. It's not yet showtime, but I think we've seen what Earnhardt has.
So he's up over 195 and then some. Here he is right in there where he wants to be and willing to wait it out a while. 125. Lap 126 is the one they're working now. Here's Earnhardt not waiting, coming to the inside.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to wait too long. But look at Kyle Petty, comes down on the inside. He wasn't making 3 deep, but he knew that wasn't the smart thing to do, so he just follows Earnhardt right on through, or tried to.
Remember that Earnhardt was leading on the white flag lap here, and they go 3 wide. There's Morgan Shepherd up on the outside.
I think the Wood brothers have a fast car here today, and Morgan is doing a great job of driving it. Finished 3rd here in the spring race.
Well, they have a lot to celebrate these days. One of the patriarchs of the sport celebrating a birthday.
70th for Glenn Wood.
Yes, sir.
I used to race with Glenn.
How does that make you feel?
Richard? Well, that makes me feel old too, I guess. He was one of the best when it comes to running on short tracks. He was really hard to beat.
Here's Earnhardt up on the outside with a rim ride, trying to pull it out and come back in front. An amazing return into this DieHard 500 for Dale Earnhardt. Don't count him out of this one. Here comes Sterling Marlin with him for 2nd. And fading back, the guy who's dominated it, Gordon.
I think a lot of people, you know, they've only been taking on 2 tires today, Richard. That's a very good point that you made there. A lot of them thought, well, you know, that's all you need. Tires don't slow you down that much. But those that has 4 tires now, it's making a big difference.
And then the 24 sitting out there with 4 used ones.
Yeah.
It's a fine race. Look at Terry Labonte. Slip right in there in the 4th position. All of this action live on on CBS today at over 190 miles per hour, breaking all kinds of records at the Talladega Superspeedway. Kyle Petty dips back on the inside as he tries to go beneath Morgan Shepherd. What a scrap this one is. Just inches that car back in there. There you see Michael Waltrip side by side with Bill Elliott a little further back. 15 cars in this lead pack, still duking it out in the 27th annual DieHard 500.
There goes the 4 car.
For the lead, Sterling Marlin is there. Gordon coming with him.
Well, I tell you that you get that momentum. You can't do anything about it. They got that momentum, got to run at him, and they just kept on going.
Jeff Gordon swings it out a little here. Just keeps his foot flat on the floor. And there you see the battle up in front among the top 15 all bunched together. David Hobbs.
Well, I just spoke to Barry Dobson, Kyle Petty's crew chief, and they're extremely happy with the way he's going. On this last stop, they put 4 tires on for the first time, and for the next stop, they're only going to put outside tires on. That's what they've been doing all through the race so far. And Kyle's just sitting there, biding his time and hoping he's going to be in really the right place at the right time when this race runs out, and he and Felix Zavala can have their second win of the 1995 season. And what a place to pull it off in this record-breaking race.
Saw Felix Zavala looking on as his car number 42 swings to the inside and then 3 wide dicing. Goes up into third. Great run by the Pontiac. Back comes the Chevrolet of Earnhardt on the outside. Marlin, who set on the pole at 194 miles an hour for this DieHard 500. Back in front for the first time since lap 20. $120,000 bonus. He's in front of the Checker Falls today.
Michael Waltrip pulls down to make it 3 wide.
Now it's beginning to look like yesterday, Ned.
Yep, a lot of cars making a lot of moves out there.
And you can't step off the gas. You've got to keep your foot down and make these moves. Everything in your body instinctively would say you got to lift, but if you lift, you're history. You've got to keep it down there and make those moves wide open.
You just can't afford to get off of that gas because you lose that momentum that Richard was talking about there a moment ago. And if you don't have that, you're going to get blown away.
Kyle Petty comes down to the inside as he tries to make a move on Earnhardt. This is the best they've run this year. The Felix Zabeta's team, they've been suffering some, but right now there's a smile on Felix's face as they swing through the tri-oval and come back. Even Stephen III loses a little here. It's hung on the inside, and back comes Earnhardt, Martin, Michael Waltrip. We've got a race today, folks. Don't go away. CBS is bringing you the DieHard 500 from Talladega. Throw out the computers, throw out the program, just watch from here on. They're dicing for the lead, moving back and forth. Earnhardt has it for the moment. Here's Gordon into second. Marlin was up there a moment ago. Martin is moving in. Kyle Petty has been up there. That is some show here at Talladega, Alabama.
Before is looking to the outside, everybody back 2 cars.
You're listening to communications with Kyle Petty back there in the 42, the lead Pontiac in this troop. A correction on that. Now Michael Waltrip has pulled up as the lead Pontiac, and this crowd is having a ball. Up and cheering as they come by another time. Here comes Martin. Ford down on the inside, trying to bring that low line up, and here's Sterling Marlin ducking underneath him. Michael Waltrip coming with him.
Boy, Martin's car got very high there. It just washed all the way up to the top of the racetrack. Wasn't a great deal he could do about it either.
At 190 plus miles an hour, Earnhardt has the lead. A bit of breathing space, maybe a car and a half length. Then Marlin is in second. Michael Waltrip pops up into third, and Kyle Petty's right there in fourth. Martin on the outside in fifth. Then it's Morgan Shepherd in the 6th position. Sliding a little as they come off that corner. And
still there, you're getting some help. And Morgan just pulled
back
up.
to 6th position. .136 of 188 laps complete. 361 miles down.
21's pushing him there.
Brett Bodine is on pit road.
understand Hut Strickland is, they say, getting into the 11 car now. Hut Strickland taking over.
Come and help you.
Brent Bodine coming out of the car.
Yeah, heat's starting to get to him now. Don't look like he's getting them front fellers, though, does it?
No, they don't have time to think about it.
It really is mind over matter in that kind of heat, isn't it?
That's what it has to be. You just have to just lock that completely out of your mind. The race is
Behind 21.
Bill Elliott coming in here 3 wide.
And Jeff Gordon slipping back.
Now back up.
Ken Schrader in the middle, Elliott down to the inside, and indeed, Gordon's got a handful pinned on the outside. Our in-car communications today being provided by Racing Electronics. There's Rusty Wallace, and he's not having much fun today. The 2 car off the pace, up in front. But still,
Rusty is in 22nd position, 8 lap down.
Presley completes the first lap in 15th position. There's Brent Bodine taking oxygen. Heat getting to him in that number 11 Junior Johnson Ford automobile.
Could have had just a few fumes coming up in the car or something like that, and boy, I'll tell you, it's tough to deal with in this on this hot day.
Marlin closes in again. Just about like running an event in a pizza oven, and there's been...
And there's a spin. There's trouble.
Car upside down.
Schrader.
Like Schrader's number 25, side over side, end over end. Another car in trouble and also getting airborne.
Terry Labonte is involved. His car spinning around on the grass. There is Elton Sawyer spinning around. Rusty Wallace there. There's Lake Speed. There's Rick Mask.
Bobby Labonte is up against the wall. We'll take a look and see what happened in a moment. They're racing back to the line as they come to the stripe, getting through it. Earnhardt is okay. Marlin for second. 30 comes across next. Michael Waltrip. Jeff Gordon getting through it. He's okay.
He was right at, Jeff Gordon was right there where it started to happen. I don't know if he was involved in the happening of it, but he did get on through. There you see Bobby Labonte's car that's up against the wall.
Clean stop, guys.
Bobby Labonte's number 18 pressed up against the wall. Morgan Shepherd, Kyle Petty, he was able to get through. There's the 75 car, badly ripped up. Oh, that's a bad break for Joe Gibbs' team.
Well, it's good to see Bobby Labonte climb out of his car.
There you see Lake Speed's car and the nose on that one, Savage. That one really
I got some more rags if you need them.
But the big story was Schrader. You could see it airborne. Here's Ricky Craven's 41. That's all torn up in the back. And here is Todd Bodine. Front and rear of that car torn up. We'll get back and show you some replays in a moment. This happened on lap 138.
Bobby pointing at somebody that he didn't seem to be too happy with.
And I thought it was Gordon.
I did too.
It's Gordon. That's who he was pointing at. But the deal is, it's just been such a clean race and stuff, and then just one little mistake just wipes out 5 or 6 cars.
We should mention there have been a couple other records set before we got to this one. I think this is going to be a lengthy caution. It may throw away a chance for an overall speed record. Even with that caution, they had to pick up that debris. They set a record back at 120 of 179 miles an hour. That was with Gordon in the lead. The old record was Cale's way back in 1978 at 178. And there you see Schrader's car absolutely destroyed.
Well, he took a nasty roll.
There was so much happening, couldn't see it all.
And here are the leaders coming down pit road. This should be their last pit stop of the day. They should be able to go the rest of the way from here.
Morgan Shepherd put down. Let's get ready to go to the pit area. Getting our replays together to show you what happened. Here's Mike Joy.
Michael Waltrip takes on 2 tires and go. So does Mark Martin. He gets right sides. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Dale Jarrett in the Robert Yates car, as it will for Dale Earnhardt, who gets a good pit stop this time and will get out well up in the order. Dick Berggren?
Mike, Sterling Marlin also took 4 tires. It was a relatively slow pit stop as a result, and he has lost considerable track position. Larry McClure, the car owner, however, says from here they can easily go all the way.
Checking on the conditions of those drivers on the back straightaway, and let's take a look at what happened here on the back straightaway in the DieHard 500. Here you see Gordon in the 24.
Okay, he comes up and clips Ken Schrader, his teammate, and sends him around. Schrader's car going backwards, the roof flaps are up, and then he gets hit by Ricky Craven, and then that flips the car over.
He just drove in under him.
And the car will roll. And then other cars coming back with all the smoke and people slowing down, they start hitting each other, and lots of cars getting involved as we see Schrader's car continue to roll and tumble on the grass.
Jeff Gordon's in car. And I believe this is in slow motion.
Okay, there's Schrader up on the outside, and you can see him make contact right there and spins Schrader around. Gordon goes on, apparently no harm done to his car.
Jeremy Mayfield giving us these pictures.
And there they're wrecking in front of them, and he hits Bobby Labonte right there, just gives him a little bit of a tap as we see Schrader's car going up in the air, and it spins Bobby right into the outside wall.
Yeah, Bobby ran into the 41 car.
Here's another angle.
You can see it had already started to happen there.
Craven coming around and spinning the 41. Mayfield, you see he has bounced off the 18 in Schrader's car.
So there's no place for those other cars to go.
In cars now at normal speed. You saw them in slow motion. Now take a look in actual speed. Gordon.
Okay, right there's where he clipped him. Gordon keeps going. Nope, Gordon keeps going.
You can hear that motor
wide open. Still wide open, which he done right.
Yeah, the 18 car looks like hit the 41 car, and the 98 car clipped the 18 car, and around they went.
Just enough to get him up.
Let's go to David Hobbs.
Todd, what did you see happen out there? We've seen it on replay a number of times. What did you see happen?
Well, the first thing I saw was Kenny Schrader's roof number. The thing lifted up and pointed right at me. And John Andretti was in front of me. He slowed down. I slowed down. We all got slowed down, and just a chain reaction. The guys behind us didn't get slowed down, and it's unfortunate. You know, everybody close to the accident saw it, slowed down. The guys behind us didn't see it and kind of piled into us. But you know, the factory store's forward. We were running good. It's a shame we got a lap down. We actually had a decent car, and it's a shame that we couldn't show it.
You're looking pretty hot. What's it like out there today? Is the heat going to be a real factor towards the end?
Well, there's not too many laps to go. It's pretty warm. The problem with today is the air that you do get, your circulators, the air you breathe, everything that blows on you is hot air. You don't get cooler. You don't get that relief that you'd normally get on a less humid day, and that's the biggest problem.
Your brother actually was just taken out of the car seconds before you crashed and was receiving treatment in the tent. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's not been feeling real well this weekend, and we kind of expected it. They had a relief driver ready.
Well, better luck next time. They're trying to fix the car. Is it going to be okay? Mike Joy.
Here's the front end of Jeremy Mayfield's car, David. You saw on the in-car replay him get into Bobby Labonte. Labonte had already hit Ricky Craven, so Mayfield did not cause Labonte's spin, but that's the bit of damage that results.
Jeremy Mayfield as he comes back out on the track. We've lost our communication for just a minute, Mike. And we'll get back with you as they continue to pick up these cars. It's for 32. That looks like Bound's car that also got clobbered out there. More in a moment.
This DieHard 500 race summary is sponsored by Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil.
142 or 143. 143 of 188 are complete, and after 378 miles, that really does not tell the story. It says leaders 6. They've swapped it a lot more than what we've seen. Here are the folks that were involved in this big crash on the back straightaway, 5 laps back.
Bobby Labonte, Ricky Craven.
Good news
Elton
is
Sawyer, Robert Presley, Todd Bodine, John Andretti, and Chuck Bound. Let's go to the pits and Dick Bergman.
I'm in Kenny Schrader's pit with Gary Eaker. He is the team aerodynamicist. Have you had any contact with Kenny Schrader?
Well, not directly from Ken. Apparently he'd gotten out of the car by the time we were radioing, but the word we got in the radio is that he left the car under his own power. We walked to the care center and or they gave him a ride, whatever, and he just maybe has a black eye, but other than that, he seems to be in pretty good shape.
Good news that Schrader's a tough guy.
He's taken some bounders like that in sprint cars, midgets, stock cars, and he's just took as hard a ride as he ever has in his career. Mike Joy.
That's a somber mood up here in Jeff Gordon's pit. Ray, you and Jeff have been on the horn quite a bit since this incident. You have a very talented, but you have a very emotional driver. What are you doing to calm him back down after this?
I don't know. How do you calm him down? He's about in tears. I mean, he didn't mean for that to happen. I mean, he's a very emotional kid. The car got loose on us, and he got loose. When Kenny went by him, he started to get sideways, and it just got away from him. He got into Kenny, and, you know, I just hope, you know, I just pray to God everybody's all right, but it's, you know, it's just a real bad deal. Kenny and Terry, everybody, I just hope everybody's all right. We just got to try and put 40 laps together here with no more incidents.
Now that'll be your job, is to keep him focused for 40 more laps. How will you do that?
I don't know. I just want to, you know, it's just a real sickening deal when something like that happens. I feel real awful bad for him. I'm just going to try. You got to try and get him put out of his mind. I don't want him to get hurt. And like I said, thank God nobody's hurt. But it's a terrible deal with restrictor plate racing, and I just hope it doesn't affect him real bad. He feels, you know, if you heard him on the radio, you know he was about in tears. So it's a real tough deal. We're just going to have to deal with it.
We'll return to the Talladega Superspeedway after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the DieHard 500 is sponsored by Sears DieHard, the official battery of NASCAR. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil.
And there is good news on pit road. Here is David Hobbs.
Kenny Schrader, that was a horrendous machine. What happened?
We just caught a little too much air over there. I don't know. I think we got turned around a little bit. Somebody caught us from the left rear. But it just took off, you know. I don't know if it took off when we get to hit the grass or what, but played sprint car, held on, head down, arms up.
You seem okay, but I mean, just can't believe you feel okay, right?
Yeah, we're okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Well, he needs to go to the ball.
He's okay. Watch again.
Yeah, the 41 car got under him, I think. Just scooted him right on up in there.
His luck has been so bad. He had such a great run at Charlotte. Thought he was going to win that one.
He's had a bad year, and he's lucky to walk away from this so that it's not a worse year than what he's already having.
There he is, just getting tagged by his teammate. Last week led for 4 times and then had the engine go away. Looks so good at
That's Jeremy Mayfield in that car.
One tough customer. That is Ken Schrader out of St. Louis, Missouri, Fenton.
Well, that was a terrible roll.
Here's what Bobby Hamilton saw through the smoke.
Bobby just stopped. They just told him to stop. So he just waited. You see, he started off there.
He was able to pick his way right on through there. He said, let me get on out of here. Get that thing in another gear.
Yeah, but he was running first and second gear just to run real slow.
Coming back to green at lap 146. Down for a decision. 15 cars in the lead lap of the 27th annual DieHard 500. As they come to the line, Michael Waltrip has a Pontiac in first. It's Mark Martin in the Ford in second, Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet in third, followed by Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Petty sixth, Dale Jarrett seventh, Morgan Shepherd eighth, Bill Elliott's in ninth, Robert Presley in 10th,
Only 10 lap cars in the lead lap, Ken.
10 indeed.
Jimmy Spencer is 11th. He's 1 lap down.
With him is Musgrave in 12th. Michael Wallace 13th. Sawyer 14th. Bobby Hillen 15th. Derek Cope 16th. And one of the things we did see in that accident, we reported earlier that Bound was out. We showed him as a retiree. He had come back on the track and got himself collected in that incident. Underway, back straightaway, Spencer.
Back in the lead lap.
Defending champion. Musgrave trying to make the same kind of maneuver.
Martin goes on the high side of Spencer. Here comes Musgrave down on the inside. Spencer caught in the middle. That's going to be close there with the 4-car Sterling Marlin.
Mark Martin coming to the inside, trying to put 4 down in front. For the second time today, here's Martin pressing on the bottom, and he's going to lead this lap. The guy who pulled off the big surprise in April, Mark Martin, is back in front at Talladega. Going into the last lap in April. Earnhardt at this race won. Then he and Gordon got together, and coming out on top was Martin when they crossed the finish line. Back straightaway, Mark Martin in first. Here's Gordon in heavy traffic, Jeff. Looking for some running room, trying to pull himself back up through in this one, gather himself back up after this major incident. Here's Earnhardt in third. Lap cars around him.
Boy, he looks so cool and calm there. Probably calmer than his wife and his mother.
I imagine he's feeling pretty confident with that car.
Yeah, that car is good today.
Gordon into fourth. Working the high side. Earnhardt back in fifth. Morgan Shepherd being challenged. Dale Jarrett right there side by side with him. 188 laps marks the distance. Derek Cope way up on the high side. Here are your leaders. It's Martin first, Michael Waltrip second, Sterling Marlin third, Gordon in fourth, Earnhardt fifth. Looking just a little further back as they come to the stripe another time. Here's Gordon going to the outside.
But Marlin takes the lead. Sterling Marlin dipped down to the inside, coming across the start-finish line, takes the lead. Michael Waltrip will come with him.
Just behind Dale Jarrett, last week's winner in that 37 lead change race at Pocono. Martin Yates, number 28, is right back in the thick of it this week.
They made an extra pit stop, Ken, after their regular pit stop, made some sort of an adjustment on the Hamilton Ford, and it looks like it's working pretty good for them at the moment.
So Dale Jarrett is into sixth, and falling back to seventh is Morgan Shepherd. Here comes Kyle Petty back into it again, mixing it right up. 10 cars, lead lap.
Earnhardt dips to the inside to make it 3 wide going into the turn. Dale Jarrett's going to try to follow him through. Michael Waltrip is in the middle, and Earnhardt makes the pass okay.
Martin falling back on the outside. Gordon pinned up there on the top of the track. That looks like about 5 wide there, Jim.
Wow.
Behind the 6 car, you can't go nowhere.
They've completed 399 miles with that last lap down to the last 100 miles.
NASCAR is seeing exactly what they would like to see. They got a Chevrolet, and well, they got Chevrolet first and second now, but the last time around they had a Ford and a Chevrolet and a Pontiac running first, second, and third.
Earnhardt on the bottom. Rolling back up, looking for Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon further back and forth. You're with him. Closes in on Mark Martin in third. Here's Mike.
Steve Meal looking out at the tri-oval here in Mark's pit. You're the fastest Ford in that draft of Chevys and Pontiacs, but is being the fastest Ford going to be enough today?
I don't know. It's feels like we're not going to get a lot of help. And when we won here in the spring, we got a lot of help from the Chevrolet guys. It looks like the Chevrolet guys are kind of hooking up with each other, and the Pontiacs are diving on them too. So without another Ford, I don't know if we got a lot of help. The 28's up there now. The 29 is a real good friend of ours. They might help us. We're going to have some other Ford guys in order to win this thing.
Well, he's got, as he said, the 28 and the 21 in the lead draft, and those first 7 cars now beginning to pull away. Michael Waltrip has dropped back to 8th, and he has lost the draft of the lead pack. Bill Elliott is running 9th. Those are the only 9 cars in the lead lap. No, 10 cars in the lead lap. Robert Presley is still, he's running
further back.
And Robert Presley is really running very slow. I mean, he's not even in the pack of cars. He just went by the start-finish line. He's a half a lap behind right now.
A week ago at Pocono, Sterling Marlin had his worst finish in 8 races. He was 18th. And ended that streak of 7 straight top 10 finishes. Trying to make up for it today, currently number 2 in points by 106 to Gordon. Leading over Earnhardt, Martin, Gordon, Jarrett, Kyle Petty, Morgan Shepherd in the final moments of the DieHard 500.
Man has always been fascinated with speed. But winning is more than a flash of speed. It's a measure of skill. A test of guts. That's why the true spirit of NASCAR lies not in the machine, but in the man who drives it. We're proud to be part of this great sport. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Overhead coverage of the DieHard 500, courtesy of the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes. 192-foot blimp based in Pompano Beach, Florida. And boy, what pictures they've had to record today. We're at lap 156 of 188, and there are your leaders, stacked up, ready to fight it out. Frisky, Sterling Marlin, that's a little further back. That's the Morgan Shepherd battle. He's back in 7th, followed by 8th. Bill Elliott in that pack. Up in front, Sterling Marlin. There is that second pack. Up in front, it is Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, and Jeff Gordon, those front 4. And then just a couple of car lengths back, Dale Jarrett, looking for his 2nd win in a row with a Robert Yates car, lies in wait. Just behind him is Morgan. And then in 7th, Kyle Petty. Michael Waltrip fell back from that group. A little further back, you see some of the ones that are well back. There's that 7 car, Bodine, Bobby Hamilton's car. He's running a couple of laps down to the field at the present time. Jeff Gordon has now slipped in the 3rd spot.
To jockey around a little bit up front there.
And if they do, that'll bring that 2nd pack right up with them.
Well, it could, yes.
The 2nd pack is not losing anything right now. Last 3 or 4 laps, they've run about the same.
Hey, don't forget the DieHard 500 next year is on July the 28th. With the Olympics down here in the southeast United States. If you're coming to Talladega, you want to make your room reservations now. July the 28th for the DieHard 500, 28th annual on this great 2.6-mile track. Hope you're planning to be with us.
Mark Martin dropped from the 3rd position back to 7th in this pack of cars.
And is dropping off some more.
A couple of laps ago, Kyle Petty's car pushed up a little bit in turn 2, and Morgan Shepherd got by him. But now he's picked the draft back up.
Mark's got back up right now.
So you got 7 cars there, and you can see the distance back there to the next group, which is Michael Waltrip leading that group.
Followed by Bill Elliott and Robert Presley still in there. Robert Presley started the day in 10th, and he's running 10th right now. Michael Wallace is being shown in 11th as a lap down.
Gordon going for 2nd, going around Earnhardt on the inside, or attempting to at least, and he makes the pass.
The point standing battle right here, with the exception of Musgrave, who's just moved up into 3rd spot in the standings going into this week's race. Those top 10 in the Winston Cup standings, amazing. 5 Chevys and 4 Fords and Pontiac up in here at the present time. So for the moment, Gordon has the advantage, and trying to whittle it down in the Winston Cup standings is Sterling Marlin. Here's Mike.
certainly a couple of Fords in that lead draft, Ken. Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Jarrett, who is fourth and is the highest place to those Fords right now. Steve Meal said he would need another Ford to help him if either of you guys could win this race. True?
I think we're going to need more than one more Ford. You know, Mark and them's been awfully strong, but Steve and I talked a while ago. We're just hanging on. We're just there in the middle, hoping nobody makes a move. We kind of feel like we went to a gang fight and only a couple of members of our gang showed up. So I don't know. You know, we've worked on this car all day. Dale has driven his heart out. We're just proud to be in position we are right now. And, you know, you never know what will happen the last 25 here in Talladega.
The smartest man in this sport, Richard Petty, often said, the best you can do on any given day is put yourself in a position to win, and then circumstances dictate the rest.
About right, Richard.
Yeah, that sounds like a good quote to me. It worked for me a lot of times, I'll put it that way. For whom are the circumstances going to work out here? Now
Here's
there's Morgan swinging out.
Yeah, he's trying to pass Dale Jarrett up on the outside. Makes that move, and Kyle Petty's going to try to go with him. Mark Martin's got to run down on the inside, and Morgan does make the pass. He's had a strong car. The sit-go forward has been very strong here this afternoon.
And they get back in a straight line again. Let's see if that's true all the way back through the street.
That second
So it
group
really
is catching
counts.
up to them.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
Indeed,
every
it
time
is.
they pull out, they just catch them that much more.
Back to the pits and Dick Berggren for this story.
One of NASCAR's senior statesmen, Ken, Glenn Wood, turned 70 years old on Tuesday of this week. That's a long time. What's it like to be 70, Glenn?
Well, it feels great. I'm just glad I can still be around at the racetrack at 70 years old.
One of the original members of the Wood brothers. So many memories, so many wonderful wins. What's the most significant of all these years, Glenn?
Probably the one at Daytona when Richard and David crashed at the last lap and we still won the race.
Well, he's one of 17 men who won for Leonard, his brother. How would you like to be out there today racing with these guys?
This is too much for me.
I know what you mean.
Great driver. He didn't start racing. He was 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, he was past 25 at least.
For the lead, Marlin, Gordon, Earnhardt, Shepherd, Jarrett, Martin, Petty. Michael Waltrip with that second group, bringing Bill Elliott along now, closing into these leaders, and really closing at this point.
Yeah, there are 9 cars in the lead lap, and we're going to have them all running in a single file here in just a moment or so because Michael Waltrip and Bill Elliott are catching up to. There were 7 cars in the lead pack, but now the others are coming to them.
193.7 late in the going.
Yes, it is. Motoring right along. Not down for those couple of caution flags, but we were really setting some records here early.
Here's Mike.
Well, Ken, not all is well in the Chevrolet camp, despite that's the most prolific make in that front draft. Dale Earnhardt called in when Jeff Gordon was behind him. He said, "Gordon's making me loose." He says, "Tell his spotter if he's going to stay there and do that to back off." And instead, Gordon went around Earnhardt. So I look for Earnhardt to follow Gordon to the closing laps of this race without making a move because his car is not comfortable running in front of the 24.
I thought with the restrictors, what you wanted to do was lead in these last laps out here.
I don't know. Used to think so too, but the last 2 or 3 races I've seen, I don't believe that's working now.
Certainly wasn't true in April.
No, it wasn't. Mark Martin came from behind, as you pointed out earlier, past Earnhardt, and then Morgan Shepherd got into Earnhardt, and Earnhardt got into the wall, and Jeff Gordon came over to finish second.
But it was Gordon that came on with Martin to make that first move around before they got to the corner and had the wreck. Let's get down for just a moment to Dick Berggren again.
In April, Sterling Marlin and Jeff Gordon ran together for much of the race, Ken. So before this race started, I asked which of them would prefer to be in the lead toward the end of the event. I asked them individually, and guess what they said? I want to be leading. I want to be leading.
Now Morgan Shepherd moving high. He's going to try to make that move that he made on Dale Jarrett a little bit ago, on Dale Earnhardt, but that didn't quite work, so he's still in line, but he's just testing them out there, see what he can do.
Working lap 166, 441 miles complete at the stripe. Mike?
Jeff Bodine is in with a cut tire. It's been a tough day for a car that was very fast in practice. Shane Parso and John Treaton changing the right sides. U.S. bobsled team chief engineer Bob Cuneo wiping the grill clean. But Bodine, that kidney stone apparently hasn't moved. He's feeling okay, and he's back out there, laps down.
Showing 9 cars now in the lead lap. With that 9th car, Bill Elliott. Former winner here. Michael Waltrip just in front of him, and Kyle Petty. And those 9 all gathering up under a hanky to decide this one.
Yeah, they're all right there in the lead pack. A couple of lap cars in there as well.
Dale Jarrett just behind Shepard. He's getting challenged. Looks like the 6 cars down on the bottom.
And Michael Waltrip will come with him. There's Bill Elliott in the red and yellow number 94. As Jarrett drops back to the 8th position. No, the 7th position. Kyle Petty has now dropped back to 9th.
Good run for Elliott today, huh?
You know, yeah, great run.
We're on Dale Jarrett's scanner right now. The conversation you're hearing is between the spotter for the Robert Yates number 28. Dale doesn't say much out there, Ned.
Not a great deal. No, I heard him ask a while ago who was behind the 42 car. Of course, he found out who one of them was, Michael Waltrip, because he came on by. It's Terry Thornburg on the spotter car.
You've done some spotting for them this year.
I have, and I'll tell you, that's not an easy job. It's a nerve-wracking job, especially on a track like this. It's so difficult to see all the way around, and one of the jobs off the spotter is to tell the driver he's clear of another vehicle when they're passing. Sometimes it's impossible to see that. And
20 to go, Dale. I know you're doing all you can. 20 to go.
20 to go. I know you're doing all you can, Dale, and right now he's got his hands full of Elliott.
Yeah, that was Larry McReynolds making that statement.
Bill Elliott continuing to pick them off. Remember, he was on the tail end of the lead lap. Now here comes Jarrett right back on top of him. Double wide in the backstretch here in the DieHard 500. Coming up next, the CBS Sports Show takes you to the Rocky Mountains. Coverage of the 14th U.S. Olympic Festival, featuring figure skating, the pairs and ladies short programs. Plus, we'll go to the boxing ring as America's Olympic hopefuls go toe-to-toe. That's coming up next on the show. Top 5 looks like this at the present time, with Sterling Marlin pacing the field, trying to get that $120,000 bonus. Jeff Gordon right there hanging on the rear bumper, and perched in 3rd spot, it's Earnhardt. Further back, you see Jimmy Spencer. He's in 10th spot up on the outside. And with him comes Musgrave just behind him in 11th.
And Martin has dropped back a little bit there. As
17 to go.
The Bill Elliott car gets up beside of him, and they're beginning to lose the front draft.
That's right, Elliott and Martin backing up just a bit here from that front draft. So there's 7 cars in that lead draft. Trying to pull away now. That front 7, Marlin, Gordon, Earnhardt, Shepard, Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, and Dale Jarrett. Here's David Hawes.
Ken, just 3 laps ago I spoke to Mike Beam, who of course is Bill Elliott's crew chief. He told me that he thought that Bill Elliott had got enough car on him to win this race. He's won it before, he feels he can win it again, but he desperately needs a dancing partner. I guess they thought they had it in the 28 car, but as you just saw in the last couple of laps, they somehow slipped back out of contention again. So with just a few laps left, this is going to be right down to the wire all the way, especially for Bill Elliott, who struggled his way right from the back to the front alongside, of course, Kyle Petty.
Bill Elliott trying to get another win going, the 1988 Winston Cup champion. 6th that season. He's back here with Mark Martin now. And they have fallen back from the front 7 in this lead lap, and there are...
But they've hooked up together now, and they're gaining back on them now. They're beginning to pick back up. Dale Jarrett has dropped back about 4 or 5 car lengths, 6th. And there you see Jarrett about to come into the picture. There he is, and then Bill Elliott and Mark Martin are closing in. So
maybe they'll pick him up.
They might do it.
They get that draft. It makes a difference.
Coming by this time, 174 down. Wonder how Jeff Gordon is coping and focusing out there now after that incident that tore him up so bad when he tagged the Schrader car and sent his teammate crashing down that backstretch. Looks very strong right now. Here's Dick Berger.
Well, Richard, you needed a good, strong finish today, and it looks like you're working up to one, but is that car strong enough to win this race?
Well, you know, it looks like it's, coming up to be a typical Talladega finish here at the end. It's going to be one of those deals anybody can win.
Where do you want to be on the last lap, Richard, as we come into the last lap?
Well, it kind of depends on your car and how it's working, you know. A lot of times it's better to be out front. It just depends on if you think you got anybody there with you to help you, and, you know, we don't know right now.
Okay, we're getting down to that last lap very soon.
Those front cars trying to stay just as straight as they can, one behind the other, so don't give anything away.
Those three Fords got hooked up there, and they caught right up in just one lap.
Yeah, it didn't take long once they got hooked up in single file. Those three Fords were Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott, and Mark Martin.
Closing in on these Chevrolets and Pontiacs, and Morgan Shepherd, of course, with his Ford, stays up there in the fourth spot for the Wood brothers. Right behind him come those two Pontiacs in fifth and sixth. Last time we saw a Pontiac around here, a guy named Petty in the spring race.
That's been a long time ago.
1983. Mark. Kyle dipping down to the inside.
Well, Jarrett going to the outside of him and might catch Kyle down there without somebody to draft with, and that might cost him about 2 or 3 positions. Not a whole lot to do about it, but as they run side by side, that lead pack will get away if they aren't very careful. And here comes Mark Martin. He's the white and blue car down on the inside of the tail end of this lead pack. So Jarrett was not able to make the pass. Kyle moves right back up to Michael Walker.
11 laps to go, and they come by this time. 11 to decide it. $1,300,000 at stake in the DieHard 500. Sterling Marlin set on the pole. Led up till about lap 20, then fell back into the field. Now looks to be the dominating factor, but here comes Earnhardt for another stab at it. Mike Joy.
Shepherd coming with. Go ahead, Mike.
As they go for the lead, Ray Evernham and his car owner Rick Hendrick in a long conversation. Have you got your driver's race face back on for these last 15 laps?
We're going to try. You know, he's in pretty heavy traffic right now, but, you know, we're going to try the best we can. Like I said, you know, just thank God Kenny and everybody's all right, but we got to do the best we can, you know. Right now, we're not really, winning this race isn't our first priority right now.
One of the things they do, Jeff has a prayer on the dashboard. It's the 18th Psalm today. It's handwritten, and he'll recite it over and over to maintain his focus.
So shuffling around up front.
And Gordon falling to fourth. Morgan Shepherd coming to third. Fords have won 3 times this year, and one of those times was here at Talladega back in April.
Michael Walker got shuffled all the way back to 9th. He was running up there in the 5th position. 10 laps to go.
Well, you guys want to give us some strategy to win this race?
Keep your foot on the floorboard and hope. Look for holes.
I hope it works.
Yep.
Morgan Shepherd has driven an outstanding race.
He really has. He has driven a tremendous race in the Wood Brothers car.
Kind of a Terry Labonte race. You've never really noticed him until it's time, and then he's there to be noticed.
Well, he was the saving grace for a lot of drivers back there after they made some green flag pit stops and they got separated, and they were back there about 12, 15 seconds behind, and he was leading that pack, and finally, once he got to the lead of the pack, he was pulling them as fast as the leaders were running, so it kept him in contention.
The number 21, the famed Wood Brothers of Stewart, Virginia. State of Virginia is going to open a museum up there. Wood Brothers in that little town. If there's one family that preserves it these days, it's the Wood Brothers. They have 5 wins here at Talladega. And of course, they won this race. It was in 1980 with the great Neil Bonnet. They won 3 with Pearson in the spring race.
There are the front 6.
Again, Marlin in first, Earnhardt is second, Shepherd is third, Jeff Gordon lies fourth, and Dale Jarrett has fought his way back to fifth. Right behind him is Elliott and then Mark Martin.
And Kyle Petty and Michael Waltrip have just about lost the draft of those front 6 cars.
They're back with Jimmy Spencer.
Front 7 cars, I should say. 7 cars in the draft.
Jimmy Spencer
right here.
Jimmy Spencer is a lap down in 10th. Musgrave stays 11th, and Michael Wallace in the Don Liddy car is up in 12th, and what a good run that is for him.
He's having a good run. He got caught out of the draft early in the race and went a lap down, but since then he's been very, very good.
To Dick Berkeley.
Well, Tony Glover, your car is in the lead right now, but this is Talladega, and all sorts of things can happen at the tail end of a race here. How do you play your cards toward the tail end?
His foot on the floorboard, and if they can get by him, fine. If they can't, then maybe we'll come out the winner. We'll just have to wait about 7 more laps to see what happens.
And this is the same car that won the Daytona 500. This number 4 that is in the lead right now.
And it's got that funny sound to it. Here's Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd making a move to try to go around Jeff Gordon. Then Jarrett dips back to the inside. And Shepherd's still up there on the outside. Shepherd's going to make the pass, or at least he's up beside him going down the backstretch. Gordon caught down on the inside. No one to draft with. That might cost him a bunch because there's a lot of Fords working together right there.
There he goes. There he goes to the back. That's the hard part of it. You can get left out so easily, Richard.
Yeah, that's what happened. He was trying to get by Morgan, and then Morgan got going, and then the 28 hooked up behind Morgan. They went both by.
And it's so hard to climb back up.
You know, you could, you just do it.
And now this let Kyle Petty catch back up to the lead draft when they got up there side by side.
That's 182 complete. Get ready. Kyle Petty on the bottom. Here comes up on the outside, the number 24 taking another stab, getting back up toward the front.
You got 2 Chevrolets and then 4 Fords running in a line there.
Looks like the Fords are working together too.
Yeah, except Dale Jarrett. He decides he wants to pass that Ford in front of him. Dale Jarrett trying to pass Morgan Shepherd, and he does. Takes over the 3rd position.
Gordon back there. Let's get back to Mike.
Richard Childress, for the 4th restrictor plate race this year, you've had to run against Sterling Marlin to win it. Does he have anything for him?
Yeah, you know, they got an awful good team, awful good setup there, but, you know, it's kind of fun racing. We see how it comes out here at the end.
Well, if you watched earlier, Earnhardt's patented move today was from the top to the bottom drop coming through the tri-oval just before start-finish line. He may not wait that long.
Dale Jarrett just moved around Dale Earnhardt and took over 2nd place. Earnhardt pulled out, thought Jarrett would go with him to push him by the 4 car. That didn't work. Jarrett took the position, but Earnhardt coming back.
Going for 2 in a row. For Robert Yates, number 28, Dale Jarrett. So many problems over the past several years for Dale Jarrett making this switch. It's been a hard year for him and for this team, but right now they're looking stout. Meanwhile, here's Mark Martin running side by side with Elliott, just behind those front 4.
So you got a Chevrolet, a Ford, a Chevrolet, a Ford, and then 2 Fords side by side. Now those front 4 cars beginning to pull away as Mark Martin and Bill Elliott run side by side back there for the 5th position.
Yep, it's over for them if they stay like that. Any distance at all.
Now Elliott breaks loose, so that might be able to put him in position to pitch back up.
What a quartet to decide it. And here comes Kyle Petty, right back to the inside on Mark Martin. And going high is Gordon, way high. He is off his pace now. He slides back to this field. In front, Marlin, Jarrett, Earnhardt, Shepherd. Chevrolet, Ford, Chevy, Ford.
And Bill Elliott catching up. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Robert Yates watches his car go past in 2nd place in a tight draft with Sterling Marlin. Robert, he just showed he's got the power to pull out, but can he pass the 4?
I don't think so. I mean, I hope this thing turns out like last week. I said we couldn't do it. I don't think we can do it.
Okay, not much optimism here, but on that last lap, anything goes at Talladega.
It's going to be exciting. So buckle those seat belts. Pull them up.
Grab onto that couch. Here's Kyle back to the bottom. Mark Martin up on the outside. Back there in 6th. And right behind them, Michael Waltrip stacked up with Bill Elliott. Or rather with Jeff Gordon.
Yeah,
Bill Elliott up to 5th.
Yeah, he's sort of there by himself. He's trying desperately to catch the lead forward. Looks like he might be gaining a little bit on him. 2 laps to go. White flag, next time by.
You know that Earnhardt has got something planned. It sounds very much like Robert Yates and Dale Jarrett. They've thrown everything they have at this effort, and they're running just as hard as they can go. The question probably is Morgan Shepherd in the 21.
He can have a lot to do with the outcome of this race.
Sure can. Earnhardt's crew watching on telly as it comes around. Don't want to miss any of this, guys. And here he is at work. The 7-time national champion, 5-time winner here. Earnhardt back in third. White flag is out. Down to it. Sterling Marlin brings them down into turn number 1. Perfect line.
Earnhardt trying to get under Dale Jarrett, but Jarrett's right on the bottom of the racetrack. There was no room there for that. They got to run. Jarrett's going to try it on the outside. Marlin closes that gap. Nowhere to go. No power to pass.
4,000-foot backstretch is covered into the third turn. Final time. Sterling Marlin leads them down. Jarrett with that Ford in second. Earnhardt Chevrolet right there. Sterling Marlin, who won the Daytona 500 the last 2 years, looking stout. Here they come for the tri-oval. Let's see if anybody's going to make a move.
Earnhardt tried it down on the inside, but there was no place to go. He comes up on the outside of Jarrett, but he won't make the pass. Sterling Marlin will win it.
Sterling Marlin has won the 27th annual DieHard 500. Morgan McClure reigns on those restrictor plate tracks. Second place today at the finish, Dale Jarrett, giving it a great run right to the final moment as he pulled himself up through, but there wasn't any more to go up against that number 4 and that Runt Pittman engine.
That Robert Yates engine is always strong too, but that Pittman engine has proven it's strong, so you just had 2 of the best going against each other as far as engines were concerned, and Marlin came out ahead that time.
Earnhardt for third, Morgan Shepherd right there. What a dandy finish. So the battle flags of number 4 are going to fly high when they leave Talladega, Alabama tonight. Sterling Marlin out of Columbia, Tennessee, Civil War buff and a great racer. And the son of a great racer has done it again. All right, a final check on those spoilers, and then they'll release to victory lane. Car number 4, Morgan McClure. Proud team out of Virginia has pulled it off and won here today. It looked like it was going to be a record pace. If you're just joining us, a terrible crash as we came into the final third of the race sent Ken Schrader side over side and end over end many times down the back straightaway. He walked away. Was able to talk to us a bit later. And in a moment or two, we'll be talking with Sterling Marlin about this outstanding performance today. And he gets a $120,000 bonus. He's set on the pole and wins it. How about that? 2 weeks from today, the greatest motorcycle riders in the USA are going to be in Peoria, Illinois, and CBS will be there to bring you all the action. I think you'll like it a lot. Our thanks to Captain Chamberlain and cameraman Bob Rosedale for today's overhead shots, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. Nice job, gentlemen. Let's go with the winner.
Third victory of the year, Sterling Marlin. Did it look easy from out front?
No, it didn't. I tell you, there's all back there running good, and I just tried to block inside and not let them get by. And the car drove the best, did it to last. Tony, Runt, Larry, the whole crew did a great job. All the boys at the shop, and my hat's off to them. They give me a great race car.
Sure, a lot easier to win from out front than the middle of that pack, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard once you get back there and get in all the traffic. It's hard to pass, and the crew had some great stops, stayed up front all day, and everything went perfect. Kodak Chevy.
I want you to meet the 2 fellas that make this go. Here's the horsepower, Runt Pittman, and the handling, Tony Glover. Turn around here. How much this track is handling, and how much of it is horsepower?
Really, here you ain't got to handle very good. If you got one of Runt's motors and you got a body like this thing's got on it, Carolina race cars put on it. All the guys back at the shop give us a great race car here, so my job's pretty easy. I just stand and watch.
That's aerodynamics, and Runt Pittman is here, and he will never tell us what that strange sound is beneath that motor.
No, all the boys at the house know.
I want to thank all the boys in the engine room and the shop. Everybody done a real good job.
And with him, Kodak Marlin's here too. That's Sterling's dad, who won a qualifier at Daytona, but never made it to victory lane here. Here's Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Jeff Gordon. Jeff, what happened on the backstretch with you and Schrader?
Man, I felt bad. I've never felt so bad in a race car. Getting into somebody, I mean, especially my teammate who I respect an awful lot, and he was having a good run, and he's had enough bad luck this year. He doesn't need to have any more caused by me. But, you know, he's a great guy, and I've already talked to him on the radio, and you can't have a better teammate than he is. But, you know, I had old tires, and I was getting loose, and I guess I just tried to run a little bit too hard on him and had a couple cars on the outside of me, and I was trying to gather it up, and man, my right front just clipped him, and it's the worst feeling in the world.
How hard was it to keep going after the accident?
It was tough. I mean, every time we got close, you know, I was afraid somebody was going to, you know, flip or get sideways. And, I mean, you never want to see an accident like that, and you certainly don't want to be a part of it. And, you know, but, hey, my guys, they kept me pumped up. I couldn't quit. You know, I wasn't going to. And I gave it everything I had. I just got a little bit too loose again there at the end.
How about finishing 8th here?
I thought I finished a little bit better than that. It was a you know, photo finish down there to the wire, but hey, you know, it's another top 10. We finished. That's really what matters. I mean, sure, we're going to go try to win every race, but right now top 10s mean a lot.
Jeff, where from here? Can we win the championship in 1995?
Who knows? You have to ask God that. You know, he's been looking over me real good here lately, and I've been praying a lot. And we just got a great race team that's working, you know, their heart out, and you know, it makes me proud to be out there driving the race car for them and working with Ray Evernham. But you know, we just got to keep doing what we've been doing, and even though we didn't win today, it's still a good finish. And if we can continue to do this, you know, throughout the season, have these kind of good runs, who knows what can happen.
To David Hobbs.
Well, Dale, we spoke at the beginning of the race, qualified 13th, a real close second.
Yeah, I guess second's the first loser, but we'll take it today. Just didn't have anything for the 4 car. I would have passed him at lap 4, 3, 2, or 1 whenever I could have, but he just had too much force. And Dale and I tried to make a run at him there, but I think he just pushed it a little bit extra and drove off.
Pretty hair-raising accident happened on the back straight. Did you see much of that?
No, I was in front of it, thank goodness, and I understand everybody's okay, and I'm just glad of that. Just glad that it was a safe race in the respect that nobody got hurt. Just, you know, close racing and some people trying to get in the same spot.
You're a winning driver, and it's obviously a winning team. The car, the 28 car, is tremendous. You've just had a first and second in 2 consecutive weeks. How do you see the rest of the season panning out? Pretty good?
Yeah, we're excited about it. We've been excited most of the year, and that's the thing about these guys on this Texaco Haviland Mac Tools team. They just keep working and keep fighting, knowing we have a good race team, and you know, we're going to Indianapolis planning on winning that race.
The Indy race. Now, that's a very different kettle of fish to here, you know, much less banking. Do you need a lot more downforce there on those corners?
Yeah, you definitely need downforce, and we'll take the same car we just won with at Poconos, so I'm excited.
Okay, well done, Dale. Back to you, Ken.
So, as of now, Gordon will lead Marlin by only 78 points, and we'll be back shortly. Coming up very shortly, Pat O'Brien will have some sports news for you, a little boxing. We'll be back here in a moment.
Time for the Owners Trophy presentation.
CBS Sports coverage of the DieHard 500 is sponsored by Sears DieHard, the official battery of NASCAR. Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
At Talladega, let's take a look at the standings this afternoon. Marlin first, Dale Jarrett second, Earnhardt, Shepard, Elliott rounding out the top 5 a little further back. And Kyle Petty coming across in 6th today, followed by Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon, Michael Waltrip. Jimmy Spencer got 10.
Yes, a lap down. Ted Musgrave came home in 11th. Mike Wallace, Jeremy Mayfield, Elton Sawyer, Derek Cope, all of those drivers with good runs here. Bobby Hillen, Rick Math, Chad Little, Dave Marcus with the top 20 finish, and Ward Burton finishing in 20th.
Good run for Dave Marcus. And we'll be back here with more and give you a look at the point standings and so forth in a moment. First, let's go to New York with Pat O'Brien. As the largest crowd in DieHard history seeks a little shade around here, we'll let you look at the final complete standings. These are unofficial at the moment through all positions. Richard Petty, a final thought from you about today's race.
Well, I tell you, it started off as one of the fastest races we ever had down here, and then we had a little excitement in the middle of the race, and it came down to a typical Talladega race with about 6 or 8 people having a chance to win the race. And you know, this is Winston Cup racing, and this is what it's all about.
Ned Jarrett, you've been here for all of them. What did you think of this one?
Well, it was a very good race, no question about that. A little surprising that no one was able to pull out and make a pass on that last lap, but Sterling Marlin was just so strong that they just simply couldn't do it. But there again, as Richard said, that's racing here at the Talladega Superspeedway.
Well, there are the standings on today's race. Darrell Waltrip, the first man out. Chevrolet's 14th win of 1995 is recorded here today. Marlin has pulled out in front of the points by 69 over Jeff Gordon as we get into the last half of the season. Photo finish for 7th between Gordon and Mark Martin was certainly a great moment there. And Earnhardt is now 3rd in points, 146 behind Jeff Gordon as we take a look at those standings moving on through the season. Great race here today at Talladega, Alabama. But that's what you expect when you come to Talladega, Ned.
Absolutely.
All that speed, and we had that spectacular moment. I think this is a lot of people will remember is this incident more than anything except the win by Sterling Marlin today. Ken Schrader walked away from this.
Got a little tap from his teammate Jeff Gordon as they came off of turn 2. Then Ricky Craven in car 41 comes in and hits Schrader, nowhere to go. And Schrader's car gets upside down, starts the barrel rolling, and it looks like it's going to go forever. Pieces flying off it, but thank goodness he was able to walk away.
Reminds you of Daytona, Richard?
Well, yeah, a whole lot. I just want to say that this shows that NASCAR really is involved in the safety features of these cars. See these cars do all that stuff, and you know, the man walks away.
So for Ned Jarrett, Richard Petty, Mike Joy, David Hobbs, and Dick Berggren, Ken Squire saying so long from Talladega, Alabama, where Sterling Marlin has won the DieHard 500. Coming up next, the CBS Sports Show takes you to the Rocky Mountains. Coverage of the 14th U.S. Olympic Festival, featuring figure skating, pairs and ladies short program. Plus, we'll step into the boxing ring as America's Olympic hopefuls go toe-to-toe. Next Saturday, the show travels to Atlantic City for the return of the champions as Monica Seles makes her return to the courts against Martina Navratilova. That's next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern on The Show. The 1995 DieHard 500 has been a presentation of CBS Sports.
Hello, I'm Tom Snyder. This week on The Late Late Show, Gary Shandling, Dennis Miller, Colonel David Hackworth, and more. The Late Late Show coming up on CBS.
This is CBS.